That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
Articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that.
Ooh, terrible! Bad! Not bad! Oh, pretty good. Okay, decent, fair, great, I loved it! Go
This sucks. Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. I still can't get over that that good old Gregg said, fuck them. I mean, he said it with such virulence and anger. I mean, he really meant it.
He watches our show religiously, and he's not happy with us.
I don't know. I heard he stopped because it was really irritating. And kind of... Anyhow, I mean, it's not like we always say bad things about Gregg. I mean,
he sends his number 2.
All right, the turn in the background says, welcome to the Straight Red Card. The Berhalter era 2.0 is here. Gregg has put out his first roster, and he somehow didn't fuck it up. Totally. I guess my wife's Blowy gave him some good ideas. Man, I wonder what his Berhalter's wife thinks about that. Your wife does get around there, Turd, and sorry to hear that. I just want to say, everybody, I hope your conversation with your stepsisters went well on, the time being between
especially you, Mitch.
Especially Mitch. Now, on my way driving from work, you know how I hit that 86th Street or 96th Street thing, and the channel changes to like classic rock. So today's song was on my way. Once I hit 96, it was a great song. It was a wonderful song. It's by George Harrison. It's called Beware of Darkness. And I cannot think of a more apropos song, not only for the U.S. soccer environment right now, but also just for the world we seem to be living on. Think of all the people who are depressed or on drugs, or just the world that we live in that's so fucking fake and materialistic, and just, good God, it's horrible out there. Like, nothing is like it used to be. Remember when we used to have like 86 record labels, and now we're down to 3? And we used to have all the radio stations decided what music they wanted to play. Now, the 2 companies that own all the radio stations decide what you get to hear.
Yeah, but it's a new market now. It's you got YouTube, you got Spotify, you got all this shit. It's an indie type of career at this point, where you can own your own shit as long as you can market yourself properly.
You can. I will.
Or have a massive viral hit.
Yes, that's possible, but still, the massive viral hits still tend to be kind of like mainstreamish sounding for the most part, right? Except for some rare occasions, you'll get some weird stuff. You're like, oh, well, that's really interesting. But you're not going to see a Nirvana or a band like, I don't know, the Pixies or whatever become huge again. That's just not going to happen. I don't think so. I haven't seen it happen. And maybe there's that. But anyhow, this song's great because the fucking lyrics are exquisite. And they're apropos for our time. So I wanted you just to play one of the verses, and I want to talk about that verse because it is perfect. We can hear it. I don't know if we're going to be able to hear it.
Yeah,
and we're not monetizing this.
Had a reply to S27. He goes, Brett, are you going to be talking about Up Dog? Come on, son.
Anyhow, this is one of the verses, and this is completely different than any music you hear nowadays because it is so thoughtful.
I like the gnomes. It's nice.
And this is his first album after the Beatles, his first solo album. And it is one of the best. I think this is the best song on the album, frankly. But it's all about, beware of darkness. There are all kinds of things around our world, right? Yeah. That are negative and nasty. And here, go ahead, just play it. And I'll shut up.
Watch out now. Take every word. Songs you shuffle. Dancing down the sidewalk.
Okay, yeah, stop.
One more line. Yeah, it sounds horrible. Okay, that's it. So anyhow, it's really tinty. Jesus Christ, it just kills all the bass in that song completely. But the lyrics were, watch out now, take care, beware of soft shoe shufflers, which, by the way, is another word for con men, right? Dancing down the sidewalks as each unconscious sufferer wanders aimlessly, beware of Maya. So kind of deep, right? Because for a lot of people consider suffering a very conscious act, but it isn't. Think about the people who are suffering the most. What are a lot of people who are suffering take on all kinds of things, drinking, drugs, you name it, to escape their suffering, right? So anyhow, I just thought this is really great. And then beware of Maya is basically beware of illusion. That's what Maya is. And the illusion, of course, is that we all seem to believe in these con men. And the next line and the next thing is beware of greedy leaders in the next verse. So he just takes it all on through the whole song. He's kind of breaking it down. Like, these are the things you need to be careful of. And unlike other people who believe that you find consciousness in suffering, for George Harrison, it's about understanding the oneness at all in everything. And that's a very obviously Eastern belief. I'm not going to get into his religion, but he also wrote a song called Within You, Without You. Anyhow, just thought I'd bring it up because I thought it was great, because the next song that came on after it, I found repulsive. And it was by Blind Melon. So I'm all into the song, and then the song ends and they play Blind Melon, dude.
All I can say is that my life is pretty plain.
You can sing that because you're like, it's like a Kermit the Frog song.
Hey, you know, we've talked about this before. I know you don't like that song, or I don't know if you like the band at all.
No, I don't.
Did you know the lead singer first off, he is from Indiana.
Yes, he is, Lafayette.
And he also did backup vocals for I think it was Van Halen or Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses,
yeah.
That's
and
cool.
And he died in the back of his van in his bus in 1995 from an overdose, cocaine, actually.
Oh, cocaine. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but the name of the song is No Rain, and it was what the B-Girl video is what everybody called it, the B-Girl video. And it was one of those songs in college. It's like, you like that song? Okay, I can't be friends with you anymore.
The actual music video definitely made you think that you were on drugs. It's all cartoony and all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And there's one thing about I'm not saying that sometimes you can have lyrics that are so complex you have to think about them. And in this case, they're just dribble. They're absolutely meaningless. There's no meaning to the song whatsoever.
Maybe that's the point of it. Maybe it's supposed to be dribble, but there's deep meaning behind the dribbleness.
There is actually no meaning behind the dribbleness. The song makes no sense. Let's be fair. All right. Anyhow, that's the end of my. And
Blind Melon were good friends with your good friend Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam.
Well, Eddie was drinking a lot back then.
Sure.
So
I think everybody was.
But that song sucks.
The whole Seattle crew got together and hung out with Blind Melon. It's pretty cool, I guess.
It's atrocious. I can't believe it.
Indiana represent. What up?
I guarantee they got booed.
From Lafayette, that might OD as well. So
I guarantee they got booed when they toured with Soundgarden. There is no way Soundgarden fans were like, yeah, that's good. Let's get all out of here.
The thing is, I don't know a single song after that though.
Yeah, because it's all garbage. It's garbage.
So I brought Kevin's comment up here when you started talking about indie traffic. I was driving home from work and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, we're actually going to talk about indie traffic. Nice timing, Kevin.
No, we're not doing
it. No traffic news whatsoever. I do want to say this though.
All right.
I have this frustrating lack of an ability to honk my horn when I have a near-death experience or a near crash experience.
I don't.
It's not my first thing. My first thing is obviously I don't want to fucking wreck my car, So I'm like,
oh well, yeah, first, yeah, obviously.
So I'm driving south on Oleo, which nobody's gonna know except for maybe Derek. Heading to my work. Actually, I was heading to drop my daughter off at my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going around Exit 10's roundabout. It's a 2-lane roundabout, which already tells you that people are stupid and they don't know how to do roundabouts.
No,
I'm in the right lane going south. There's a car in front of me and a car next to them. So there's one in each lane.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, the best that those two cars could do would be to go straight. Car on the left could turn left if they want to. Car on the right could turn right.
Mm-hmm.
So they go, and I'm behind the car in the right lane, and the car in the right lane ends up going 3/4 of the way around the roundabout, trying to go left. Almost T-bones the guy next to him, and I almost rear end the fucker. Oh,
dude, I know. Yeah. Since I moved here, they're just idiots. They're rampant all over the circle areas.
They don't understand the simplest of concepts.
Yes. Jason Gonzalez Ortega, 199. We appreciate, brother. Remember, Soto over Jesus. Also, permission to rant.
Jason, if you want to rant, I will take a look for your comment and I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I don't know how long they're going to let you go on that because I think it's limited on how much.
Well, only super chat. That's what I'm saying. If you post on here, I'll try to catch it.
All right, and I'll try to catch your emotion in your rant. Yeah. How's that?
Yeah.
All right, that's all I had for bullshit was just music today because we got a lot to get to. You know,
I got a little bit of bullshit.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah. So this is fun. You know, American Gladiators in the making. You know, just the typical thing. You know, we're gonna spar off, fall into a foam pit. It's gonna be good times.
Yeah. Okay.
Who do you think's gonna win?
The girl on the right in the yellow looks like she's gonna win because the girl on the left is already leaning inconspicuously. It just doesn't look good for her. Let's put it that way.
Okay, fair enough. It makes sense.
Get him, Maverick! Get him!
Uh-oh.
Get him, Maverick!
Oh, shit.
2 points for Quinn! Win! 2 points for Quinn! Win!
That's perfect. Yeah, that girl had no idea. Like, that probably wouldn't be appropriate. She's just like, I'm just cleaning this
Boom!
Bam!
You're next. You want some of, I don't know, blonde lightning? Bam!
Damn. That's harsh. That's hardcore, man.
Oh, right. Man. She's got, they're going to bring American Gladiators back and she's going to be rocking it.
I mean, if
next
you have
to Blazer and Taser.
If you have kids, that's even funnier than if you don't have kids, because you know all about that. How kids just act instinctively.
Yeah.
All right, I'm drinking a quad again. This I'm not going to bring it up. I'm just going to show it. The same one, Lick Trap. It's the last one I have from this one, so I'm going to enjoy it tonight and try not to get too wasted.
While you're enjoying that, Chris Garrett for $4.99 says, "I'll catch this on replay. Enjoy the long weekend. May the Gregg be with you." Because Chris Gary already said before the show started that he was 4 vodka drinks in.
Wow.
So
okay.
He's definitely enjoying his Thursday. And wishing a
Chris,
hangover-free Friday.
We appreciate all your support, as you well know. And thank you for being around a long-ass time during this show. Thank you so much. All right. That reminds me. Hey, subscribe. I think only 60% of the people watch the show actually are subscribed to this show.
Yeah, I'd love to look at our stats, actually. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
No, I think it was around there when I checked
it might be
about 3 months ago.
God, every time somebody brings this up on a stream or a show, they're like, it's always like only 40% of my viewers actually subscribe to my channel, which means that a lot of you are missing our content.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're missing it on purpose. And if you're missing it on purpose, no worries. But if you aren't, hit subscribe. All right. It helps. Anyhow, we're getting really close to the ultimate big old 3,000 number, which would make 3 battalions worth of supporters. So that's a brigade at that point. So
Derek promised that he'd go second round on his blow-up doll.
No, I didn't. I don't have one. So.
Ding, ding, motherfucker.
Not going to happen. All right. No, plenty of soccer to get to today, folks. So only 15 minutes of horseshit.
I got 2 more things real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
Oh, I didn't know you had more.
Nope. This is the sad times. Sad times indeed. I know that obviously teaching in schools are quite a bit different than when you and I went to school. Wouldn't you say that?
When I taught school.
Even when you taught school, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You got all the crazy stuff now. You can't just teach kids, hey, remember 2 + 2 is 4. Now 2 + 2 might equal 5. There's new math. all this stuff that's just
Sure there
out
is.
of left field. It's like, do we really? What was wrong with just memorization? But there's a whole new slew of thing here going on.
I can tell you what's wrong with memorization because I can't remember shit anymore.
You know what 2 + 2 is. Come on.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
All the random language facts you bring my way. No, you remember shit.
No, I remember multiplication tables, the whole nine. I'm just talking about remembering stuff like all the kings and queens of fucking England.
Mhm.
I could never do that because they're all named the same thing. It's just a different number after. All right. Portland schools more banning zeros for cheating and not doing work. Equitable grading practices. I don't know what you can do besides a zero. You just put an incomplete on that fucker and make them do it again.
You just give them a 60 because that's an F, right?
No, you make it incomplete and you make them do it again.
I don't know. There's got to be you take away consequences. I mean, there's already talk. I mean,
well, that's a consequence. He has to do it again.
Or maybe he just doesn't keep doing it. I keep saying, I don't know why I say he. The person doesn't do it again, doesn't do it again, doesn't do it again. All of a sudden, they're out of that grade level. What are you going to do? You can't give them a 0. It's just an incomplete at that point, right? So, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. The consequence for not doing your work, you could say, hey, you turn it in, you get minus 10% off of whatever grade you get. How about that? That could be something.
Sure.
But cheating? No, fuck that.
Yeah, cheating is.
Yeah, that's a. You're done. That's a 0. Stick that 0 for you.
You should never get caught cheating.
Yeah,
you're not doing
it right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
My version of getting around homework for AP Calculus was realizing where I sat in the classroom and realizing my teacher either started on one end of the room or the other, and finding out what 2 problems I had to make sure I did, so that when I went up to the board to write it down, I had both answers, but I never did the entire homework. So
you know what?
Like, hey, did you miss any? And if I got the answer wrong on the board, I'd be like, yeah, I missed one.
Worst teachers I ever had were for algebra and calculus because they I
really enjoyed my calculus teacher. He was hysterical.
Well, then you got a good one. I got crappy algebra teachers. It's the one teacher that did this. It did that. Okay, and now we're gonna solve for X. Guy.
My calculus teacher, I imagine at this point in time he has to have passed, given his age at the time. But he'd always do the like when he's going over stuff, he'd be like, and remember 2 + 2 = 4, stuff like that. But every now and then, when somebody would act up or say something stupid, he'd go over to his desk and grab a bus, this little tiny bus. And he goes, oh, it looks like you rode the short bus in today. I'm like,
oh, you can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore.
No way. He'd be gone the next day.
Totally gone.
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, you can't say that kind of shit.
Oh, Christ almighty.
You couldn't even say it when I was a teacher. Shit. That whole thing was real. All right, so anyhow, there's that. Any other pop culture?
We got some more language news. We always have a language bit for each.
Okay.
Show, right? It's coming up. It's coming up. You know it's coming up.
All right.
I want you to go over this real quick with me.
All right. A long time ago, we had empires run by emperors. Then we had kingdoms run by kings. And now we have countries run by cunts. I know where that was headed. All right. So, yeah, unfortunately, that is true. Almost everywhere you look. It's unbelievable. But that is the world we're living in now.
Wait, 1 second. I've got something playing in my eardrums right now.
Okay.
It went away. What the hell is that?
Good. It was probably Beware of Darkness.
No, that's gone. That's gone. It was an advertisement on one of the tabs that got pulled up. I was just like,
okay.
Dun, 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 and my ears, what the fuck is that? So.
All right, let's start soccer. Football.
Geez, 20 minutes in, man. Like
Calcio.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Foosball.
Why
all the different names.
Why don't we start off with the hot topic, right? In this situation, and it's Gio Reyna being left off the U.S. men's national team.
It's not Pulisic's sister.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's not. No. This is ridiculous that Gio's not on the starting or not on the.
Oh yeah, that headline.
I can't get over it. How could Berhalter have left him at home It's beyond
What
me.
is wrong
It's
with
beyond me.
Goal.com? What is wrong with them? They don't need to do this. Why do they do this? Gio Reyna left off of U.S. men's national team squad because he's injured, as Gregg Berhalter called, because he's injured. Why make clickbait, man? That's so disingenuous. So disingenuous. Whoever's running this shit, or the editor that decides what the fucking titles are, man, come on, man. ESPN did it too. I know. It's all fucking clickbait, dude. Nobody wants to be honest about fucking anything anymore. I mean, I wouldn't have been, well, there were certain sites I worked for where I didn't get to make my own titles, but when I did at Big Soccer, I certainly would have made one like this, because everyone at Big Soccer would have called my ass to the floor if I wrote an article with this fucking headline. They would have been, oh yeah, what's the matter with you, clickbait? You don't know that motherfucker's injured? What are you, too stupid? I hope that's in your article somewhere. Yeah, man, that's just poor taste. Ryan, what was his name?
Oh.
That was in poor taste. Ryan Tolmish, whatever, dude. Poor taste.
There's 4 comments apparently, but the thing doesn't take me down to the comment section. Let's see. Dopey headline. Come on, guys, do better. No need to stir up shit that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Reyna should never be brought back. His parents screwed the future.
Not one of those fucking idiots.
Let's see. That's it. Yeah. So half of the comments of this article, we only got 4. I mean, well, our tweets get more than 4 comments usually.
Yeah, I don't know if Goal.com is struggling. I don't know.
They may not necessarily be the mecca they once used to be.
I wouldn't write for them. Anyhow, I've got some queries, actually, I'm not going to get into, of people who do want me to write an article. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Branch out,
yeah. But Goal. Again, I mean, just like a special article here and there. But Goal.com, I wouldn't write for them because they're so fake. They're just fakers. They fake their way through this. They put fake shit up about all kinds of shit. They're always a day late and $1 short, and they fake it the whole way. This is a guy running a site to make money, and that's it. Now, I don't even know how much money he's making, frankly, at this point. They've been around forever.
I had to scroll down quite a bit just to get to the article itself. But Derek, what happened to Reyna?
Reyna has not yet played for Dortmund this season, as he's battled with an injury suffered in preseason. But that's all they say.
What? It wasn't suffered in preseason, though. That's the thing. It was suffered during Nations League. It was like a month
fucking
before
idiots.
Preseason.
Exactly. And look at the bullet points for the article. Reyna left off U.S. men's team squad because he's injured. Would have been an appropriate thing to put behind the bullet after you've already got him to click on the shit, you fucking idiots.
Well, look at the rest. I mean, this is Berhalter's first camp back in charge. U.S. men's national team faced Uzbekistan and Oman.
Those
are the 3 points of all this call-up. Really, the call-up? That's all you want to talk about.
This is like for people who just started watching soccer yesterday and gullible people.
Oh, we're playing Uzbekistan? Oh, I had no idea.
Well, I hope it's not somebody I like that's running Goal.com, because I just called him an asshole.
You know what? Sargent was left off the squad as well, man. I'm irked about that.
Why isn't that on there? It should be Reyna, Sargent. Who else is in? Adams. Oh my God! Boom! All left off the fucking roster. Gregg's lost his mind. Yeah.
Morris rolled. Oh, that's never mind.
Yeah. Brooks.
But here's what they should have talked about. It wasn't just an injury he suffered during preseason.
Yeah.
Should have been talking about this right here.
They get an F for that. One note regarding Gio Reyna's injury. It has been widely reported that he suffered a calf injury in the summer of the Nations League duty. U.S. Soccer has clarified to me that in fact a leg fracture he suffered. They did not expand further. He's back in training. Well, that would have been some good information to have.
Well, here's the thing. The injury happened. We saw him limping off.
Yes.
And we didn't hear a fucking word after that.
Not a peep.
How come it took all the way up to August 30th for us to find out that he suffered a leg fracture back in June?
Yeah. I mean, you would think we might have heard it from U.S. Soccer, but maybe
somebody could have. Dortmund could have said something.
Dortmund could have or should have.
He's injured. We don't know when he's going to come back. And we're thinking like September, which is accurate now. But like, what was it? Anybody with eyes could have seen that the studs of that cleat went right into his calf.
Yeah.
So okay, it's not a calf injury. It definitely was a fracture of some sort, because 9 times out of 10 that studs up is going to fracture your fucking bone.
And the problem with if you're Reyna's agent or you're Reyna is if you don't let this information out and it's taking you this many months to get over a calf injury, doesn't that just make you look like an injury-prone player who doesn't heal quickly?
How many people do we see on Twitter talk about that constantly? Oh, he's injury-prone. He's overrated.
Right.
What? Wait. Yes, he's been injured, but overrated? But yeah, if you come out and say, dude, it's not a calf, it's not like it's strained a muscle, man. My fucking bone fractured.
I would have told.
It's in 2 pieces right now.
I would have told my agent to make that public.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it makes me look like a slow healing piece of sack of shit. Like my body's falling apart.
I guess ultimately, as long as Dortmund knows about it, that's not the huge issue. As long as he's planning on staying there long term, of course.
Well, if you're Dortmund, we might want to release that too. So if you're going to sell him 2 years from now, people won't look back and go, oh, that little calf injury kept him out 3 months.
Yeah.
Boy, this kid,
3 years, he played like 8 months worth of soccer. This is weird.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus, this is turning into Stu Holden here. All right.
All right, Derek, this came up a number of times when we're talking about music, so I figured I'd bring it back up here real quick.
Do I like the viral hit Rich Men North of Richmond? I don't dislike it. I like sort of the sentiment of it generally. I haven't read all the lyrics. I heard it one time, and so I'd have to go back and review what he's saying. I mean, the sentiment sounds good, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to go review it. I think he was just on Joe Rogan. I saw a clip.
He was, yes.
So, I don't know who he is. I don't know what he believes. I don't know what he thinks, and I'm not going to talk about that here. I can tell you that much.
Hey, I enjoyed the song itself, and I've listened to it a number of times.
Well, I think where people like that's a fake accent because
that's a big thing that's going around right now. Yeah, and like, how many times do you listen to like British singers and they sound like they're fucking American with American voices? Like you can hear them clearly. You don't hear any form of English accent behind there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just pick up on a way of how to sing, especially if you're from a certain area. So even though he doesn't naturally have that twangy voice, he can still sing like that because maybe that's what he listened to. Maybe that's how he learned how to sing. But
I think that's fair. I also think that, if you're trying to tell a story from a certain perspective, there is a song by David Bowie called Robert Zimmerman where he sings like Bob Dylan the whole way through the song. Mm-hmm. It's called, "Oh, hear me, Robert Zimmerman. I wrote a song for you about a young man named Dylan with a voice of sand and glue." He imitates Dylan for the song because the point of the song is it's about Bob Dylan. Now, I don't know if that's sort of the same sort of theme we're getting here, where he's trying to deliver sort of a country song theme.
That literally is how he's If you listen to more of his music, Ain't Got a Dollar, Want to Go Home, he just released recently. It's all the same sound. Like, that's literally how he sings.
Okay, well, then that's just how he learned to sing. And even I sung in fake Bob Dylan tones in time just for the flavor of it.
Well, anytime you sit there and driving in a car and you're listening to a song that you want to sing along with, nine times out of 10, you're going to try to sing how they sing. You're going to hit those. Try to hit those notes. I can't hit the notes. I blew my voice out a long time ago, but you're going to try to hit those notes. You're going to try to hit the tune and stick with it and the nuances of how they hit those notes and everything. So
I didn't really listen to him and go, "Oh, he's pretending to be this singer or that singer." I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah. No, I never thought that until they brought it up.
Yeah. If you're an artist and you're a musician, you don't want, you might want to have your voice sort of sound like somebody else's. Like, oh, your voice reminds me of Bowie, or your voice, and that's why I got compared to a lot. Your voice reminds me of this or that, but you don't want to be exactly like them. Then you're just copying them, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's what he's doing here. All right. Can you make the pages bigger, by the way?
Well, I can zoom in. Yeah, let me zoom in now. But we're done with this one.
Okay.
All right, but let's get that quote from Berhalter from the Vanity Fair article that we talked about on Tuesday with Diego.
Yeah, we didn't really get to the specific quote though.
No, this because I only pulled one screen cap from that Vanity Fair article. But yes, this is definitely a fun one.
Yeah, this one.
How you're supposed to like. Why I just can't call. I can't just pick up the phone and call him. What am I gonna say? You know.
This is called a false argument.
Yeah.
All right. By framing something in its worst possible way and saying that's what you can't do. Well, no, you can't do this. And this is what he said. It's all raw, said Berhalter, proceeding cautiously. It's not something where you pick up the phone and say, hey, bud, here's how it's going to be, bud. There is work to be done. Nobody in their right mind is recommending that Gregg Berhalter pick up the phone and like some fucking Pauly Shore accent say, hey, bud, here's how it's going to be. Because nobody thinks that's what you would say. And if you, Greg, think that's what you are going to say, that's pretty fucking sad and pathetic. Because no one would say that. That is not what you would do. And you know it too. So you're giving a false example of something that could be much more simple. It's called this. Hey, bud, can we sit down and talk? I'm heading to Germany, and I know we've had our problems, but if you could put aside some time, I'd like to start working things out. I'm going to bring BJ along with me. Yeah.
That was the thing. 90% of Twitter, when the people who were like, well, this can't be handled via a phone call. I'm like, it doesn't have to be handled via a phone call. Yeah. But that's a good launching point saying, hey, I'm going to be in Germany this week. I would like to sit down and talk about our future together.
Right.
You get a time, you go sit down. I used to say, like, he needs to sit down, Gio, apologize for using that story at the Howe Institute of Technology or whatever the fuck that symposium was called, and apologize for using that story.
Yes,
but apparently he has. Apparently he went out and wrote handwritten
notes
whole team.
To
all the teams saying, "Hey, I'm sorry for this reason."
Right.
And sent them out. So maybe he's already apologized for it. Then if that's the case, that's good. And maybe that's why in this situation, Gio had already announced it's like, hey, I just want to fucking play. I don't care if he's
the coach. Right.
Just bring me
along. He's already said it. He's already fucking said, I want to play. I don't care if Greg's the manager. This call is not that hard. He doesn't need anyone to hold his fucking hand or lubricate the conversation. This is like, Brett, if we were in high school together and I said, damn, Brett, I don't know, man. I just, and you're like, dude, just call her and ask her out. And I'm like, man, I don't know how to do that, man. What do I do? Do I call her and say, hey, babe, let's have butt sex? No, that is not, you don't jump straight for the butt sex. That is not how that call goes. And I know that. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, baby. Hey, man, you want to do some anal? That is not how that call starts. And this
it would be pronounced anal, by the way, right? He's going to mess it up. You want to do some anal? He's like, anal. Huh?
Anal. But yeah, I mean,
it's not difficult. And that's all I've been saying since it came out. And again, leaked by Diego in this sense, and then all of a sudden verified by the Vanity Fair article.
I don't know what the word gaslighting is. But this sounds like gaslighting. If there is gaslighting, this must be it. This quote must be gaslighting. All right. I hate that fucking term. I will punch someone in the face if they say gaslighting. Quit gaslighting. Yeah. Boom. Bam. I don't even know what it means. I'm punching you in the face for it because I'm sick of hearing the word. All right. Done with that.
Chris Fairburn says, but if she says yes.
Well, I mean, that's a big thing. The percentage chance of that happening is pretty small.
The answer at that point would be marry her?
Yeah, I wouldn't jump straight to the butt sex on the first call.
Man, you are down for anything. Let's get married this weekend.
You're the girl of my dreams.
Woo!
We won't get back to that conversation about that girl I dated who would only do butt sex. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
She wanted to keep her virginity.
It was incredibly strange that you didn't realize she had a dick too. So
no, she did not have a dick. Yeah, not even a large clitoris. Anyhow, I didn't get much action in that area, so I can't really tell you.
Yeah, at least reach around. No. I mean, no, you shouldn't do that. No.
Oh, just a little of this, but yeah, all the action happened in the other end, the other hole. All right, what do we got next?
Well, I mean, you did your rant as far as the phone call.
You got a rant?
No, I don't.
Oh, you never do.
What? No, I chime in with your rants. I add a little more to it just to make you keep going. That's what I do, Derek. You know this.
You're the pastel. No,
I'm the gasoline fumes.
You're the gasoline.
Fire. That's what it is. The fumes. What? You know, that's what I am.
I tell you what, man. You know, one thing about Gregg, I mean, this whole roster was like, oh, that's actually a breath of fresh air. And then you had to watch the interview, and you're like, and read the interview and watch the interview, and you're like, man, he's still full of shit. I mean, he's a little more likable. I actually felt like I liked him a little more than I used to, but then we started getting those stupid quotes and more of those later on with the Reyna questions. And I'm like, man, he's
we're gonna go over that presser and everything like that. You got the timestamps and whatnot. But I was listening to Jimmy and Chuck here talk about various things at first. But
trash can.
They brought it trash can cream cheese or whatever it is. Yeah, they brought in a snippet and they kind of like spliced two different answers together. And I'm listening to Gregg talk, and I'm like, oh man, I really did not miss this.
Yeah,
like, man, I miss the pressers with BJ and Hudson at this point. Come on.
Well, except for the part where BJ bullshits about Brooks at once, and then
what you didn't see in the background, the turd made sure of this, is you didn't see Berhalter's hand up BJ's ass and puppeteering him.
Well, I believe that he had to sit down with the turd after that first answer, because remember, the next interview after that, he clarified, oh, he's always in contention as long as he's playing well. Well, guess what, bitch? He's playing well, and he has got no sniffs of no nuts on this fucking roster. All right? He's nowhere.
It's echoes of the second half of the season of qualifying during the second half of the season of that year for Brooks' last season with Wolves. You know, the first half he was like pretty sucky, and he was sucky for the United States. They were like, oh, they're the worst. And then he goes back to Wolves and everything, and Wolfsburg, sorry, let me rephrase that.
Yep.
And the second half of the season, he's like man of the match, team of the week or whatever, all that shit, like 80% of the time. And he's like, we're gave him a list of things he needed to work on, and we'll see if he picks up some pace. He's got to run a 40 and 4 flat. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Right. And I do predict at some point, it might be 4 years from now, we're going to hear the following quote from John Brooks.
Yeah.
Gregg's a bitch. We're going to hear that shit for real.
We're actually going to replace it and snip it with
except the real thing. Yes.
It'll be like, Gregg's a bitch. Instead of Gregg's a bitch. Whatever you did, I know you changed your tone up there, but.
Well, I said it, and then I had to slow or speed it up to match his lips. And so when I sped it up, it sounded funny, but it matched his lips a little better. So there you go. Yeah. False lip reading. All right.
All right. Well, this is
Jimmy.
This is a Jimmy rant, and
Jimmy trash can.
We need Jimmy the trash can back on our show, man.
I don't know if anybody wants to come on our show except for Eric and 29 now after my rant.
No, they're all thinking it. No, this is the thing though. All the clips, they're all saying the same fucking shit. They're all saying the same thing that we're saying. We just have more venom behind it, and it's just like
we swear more.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
It's like I'm just speaking out my ass right now, but then suddenly go on the rant, and he's like, but what do I know? And then we're like sitting here like, well, fuck him up his fucking ass, you fucking fuck. So
yeah.
It's a little bit different of a show, but we're all saying the same thing.
Bunch of fucking hobos, man.
I think the only show that's not saying the same thing is Lalas.
Oh, we'll get to that later.
But they got the U.S. coverage, so they don't have to pander per se, but they're not piling on. Now, once Fox loses the coverage back to ESPN or wherever, NBC or whoever takes over next, then maybe Fox will start chiming in like some of us normal Fox. Who knows?
Like ESPN does?
Yeah, no, I feel like they were still kind of harsh on Berhalter, but I feel like once ESPN lost the rights to Fox, everybody on ESPN just started unleashing. And it's glorious to go back to watch, but
I don't think that they were even talking about that shit because that's a long time ago they lost those rights. ESPN to Fox. Long time.
I guess it had been like at least a year before the World Cup.
I thought it was longer than that.
I don't know. I don't remember when it happened. I guess, but
Either way,
there was a flick of a switch at some point because I felt like Herc and Seb were the only ones on ESPN really saying like kind of like real shit about it.
Right.
And you can agree or disagree with what they say. Maybe they have opinions you don't like. Whatever. That's beside the point. But at least that they were talking about the point. And Herc even talked about Filippo, talking about how some of the shit he said got them blackballed. They're no longer able to talk to interviews with U.S. men's national teams, et cetera, et cetera.
No, Filippo got kicked out of a fucking practice.
Well, no, that was different. No, I was saying Herc was talking on Filippo's channel about how Herc was being blackballed.
Oh, yeah,
at the same time that Jimmy started talking about being blackballed too.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, if Filippo got kicked out.
He went to a practice and they're like, you're out. I don't care if you have a press badge. You're out of here. He's like, what the fuck? All right.
You said not so favorable things about many of us, so.
Yeah, it's so small-minded to do that.
Yeah, it sucked.
Anyhow.
Here we go. Here's Jimmy rant. We're talking about Gregg Berhalter not talking to Gio.
Yep.
Assholes on the sideline. That's not my fault.
Parents on the sideline,
right? I mean, that's not me, the player's fault.
Right.
That is them. Do we need to expel them from the sideline? Most likely. And I think that Danielle and Claudia Reyna also need to be expelled from the sideline, right?
They'll just be way up.
Sideline.
Yeah.
No, they should have
a couple rows up, right?
Yeah, way
that
up.
doesn't impact the player. And I feel like Gregg Berhalter needs to meet Gio Reyna where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that more metaphorically, but also in real life. Like if I was Gregg, I would have extended an olive branch once I got the job.
Absolutely.
I would have, if I had to fly over to Germany and be like, hey man, let's just go grab some dinner, and just kind of work through it in person.
Right.
This sounds eerily similar to what we're all saying.
Yeah.
And I think Jimmy is agreeing with all of us by putting it in his own words, but this is a lot of what we're saying. It's not hard to say, yeah, there's some shit between us. Let's get together. Let's hash this out.
Have you ever hashed out something with somebody you had a dispute with? I mean,
dude, I can't tell you a number of times that I've had to tell Jackson. I'm like, Jackson does something, and I'll blow a gasket.
You lose your shit.
I'm like, dude. A little bit later, I'm like, hey, I shouldn't have lost my shit on this. That's on me, but this is why I'm upset, and we need to work on this.
And by the way, I'm going to lose my. I'm going to lose my shit down the road, too.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Just get used to it at this point. I'll come back and follow up with it. But Berhalter's a fucking parent. He knows this shit. He knows that sometimes shit's hitting the fan and you got to correct. And sometimes you accept responsibility for what you did, but you explain situations out. And at this point, Gio is practically, a son of his. I mean, he's known him since birth.
Right.
So, I mean, he's known him this long. At this point, you got to talk to him as if you're Uncle Gregg. And I know that things might be a little awkward at this point, but we got to get this talking down.
I don't even know if it needs to be Uncle Gregg. It just needs to be, listen, I know we got our issues, but I'm still the coach and you're still a player I want on my team. And so let's work this out at whatever professional level it has to be. We'll maybe never be friends again, and I totally get if you don't want
it can be professional. That's all it has to be. My point with the Uncle Gregg thing was the strength of the drama there.
Gregg's making it worse.
I agree.
He's dragging this shit out.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's what we all agree with Jimmy on this, and this is what we've been saying too. Let's hit the last 40 seconds of this, and we can move on to Stevie over at FC or ESPN.
Over the phone, texting. I know that texting's a great way for a lot of these players and this generation to communicate. But I think at some point you just have to, hey, how do we want to work through this together? This is a lot of like Gregg and the coaching staff in U.S. Soccer going, this is how we're going to handle it. But I think you have to meet Gio in the middle there.
You know him.
Who is paying a penance that I don't think he deserves.
Better than any outside advisor
apologize for his behavior checks.
Mediator does.
But I do think that I don't like how this is being handled, and I'm frankly pretty surprised they haven't spoken to Gio yet.
It's pathetic.
It's stupid.
An average human being would be able to do this. And I know it blew up, and I knew it was all over the news, but these guys know each other. It's not like they haven't been practically family. And I realize arguments between family sometimes are the hardest things to settle. But you know what? If you care about each other, even a little, and you care about the team professionally being successful, you figure out a way to. Reyna's already said I'm going to play regardless of who's the manager. Gregg's the manager. That part's done. It's just about sitting down with BJ, maybe there on the side, and just having an honest conversation, saying, I'm sorry about what happened. You know, I already said sorry. I sent you the letter about being sorry, but I want to say it again. I want to say it again because I want you to know I really regret that. But now I'd like to move forward. And this is not hard. This is not.
Yeah, he doesn't have to even talk about his issues with his parents. That is a separate issue altogether, and he just has to specify, hey, I know that a lot of the drama that's been happening over the last handful of months has nothing really to do with it about you. I'm apologizing for my part in this.
Exactly.
And this should have been left. This should have been left behind closed doors. We had it settled a couple of weeks prior to me blowing the door with this, because I fully believe that Gregg went into that symposium understanding that, oh yeah, no, this is closed door. That's not going to be leaked. It's not going to be. It's all going to be in house. It's all off the record. But we live in a world where everybody's got a fucking phone that's as powerful as a computer on their hand. That as Gregg is, even if they don't record it, they could type it as fast as he's speaking.
Right.
It's dumb. It's dumb to think that.
And since Gio has nothing to do with what his parents did, there's nothing for Gio to apologize for. So that shouldn't be an expectation. For God's sake, I hope it wouldn't be. And here you have this meme. More training for you. I have. Show you how to commune with him, I will. Yes. I mean, it's amazing. You need someone to
right there.
fucking hold your fucking hand through this. This is, I get it. It was a big deal. But I think we've already heard from Reyna. And if he's past it and he's ready to move on, then you don't need a herd of fucking goddamn advisors to babysit you as you walk through a phone call and a meeting with goddamn Gio Reyna. It's just, this is just absurd.
I wrote this down on Twitter. Somebody, I forget who I wrote it down to, but I'm like, here's how I imagine the conference call or sit down would occur with Gio, Berhalter, and the mediator. Mediator goes to Gio, goes, Gio, things aren't going to ever go back the way they were, but we need to make sure we move forward in a professional setting to play under Gregg, blah, blah, blah. And Gio goes, yes. And then the mediator goes, well, now, Gio, don't say that. Wait, what did you say? Oh,
yes.
I guess we're done here. It's so stupid. I know there's a lot of people that'll sit there and go, well, this is a sensitive subject, and it's good to make sure that emotions don't get heated.
Somebody said it in response to my tweet. Which is about lubrication. He doesn't need a lubricant to get this done. If he is a decent human being who has empathy for others and understands his own faults and what his part in this is not a hard fucking conversation. It just isn't. And so, no, he doesn't need a babysitter. You can bring BJ along because I think that will soften the conversation.
Absolutely will,
yeah. I mean, once you're done talking about it, you still got to eat dinner, right? So you need somebody to keep the conversation flowing.
Yeah,
so.
Gio, I know this is going to be awkward for both of us, so I'll front the bill, okay? No need to go Dutch here.
I don't think they're worried about that either. John Kavulich.
Order whatever you want because USSF is buying it.
Oh, yeah. This isn't Canada. All right, John Kavulich, $5.
Too true and too soon, Derek.
I know. John Kavulich for $5. Is it possible Gregg is a bad father and holds grudges against his kids? I don't know about his own kids, but he does seem like a guy who holds grudges against players. Certainly John Brooks being one of them, Dwayne Holmes being another, Matt Miazga. There are others. Anyhow,
Nagy.
Nagby.
The personal
well,
he just didn't play him, and Nagby was like, "Fuck this! I can be back home with my family. I don't need this shit."
Yeah, I ain't coming off the bench for you, bitch.
Yeah. Maybe coming off the bench, maybe.
And then when Hoppy found out, oh shit, dude, you better make a fucking t-shirt with sunglasses and give that shit to Berhalter because he don't put up with that shit, dude. You may never play again. Next time you have an
outbreak, you better be bent over in that photo.
No shit. So, like Klinsmann, yes, Berhalter does hold grudges. So yes,
and I've got to say, I mean, I know, obviously Sebastian's different than say Michael Bradley in this situation. But you got your dad as a national team coach, and you're not even getting a sniff during camp cupcakes. And I gotta say it's only because he only got brought back up because Chicago played Vancouver and got beat 1-0 on a stupid goal, but Chicago was getting destroyed for that entire first half. Lopez was so fucking slow as far as changing the setup. But regardless, it's beside the point. But Sebastian had a pretty decent game, actually.
Oh, did he?
But not enough to even warrant a Camp Cupcake call-up, but still, not a bad game.
Who'd you guys lose to? Vancouver? Brian White, 10th goal of the season, by the way, for Vancouver.
Brian White scored the goal, and Gold. Am I missing his name up? He's apparently deemed the Scottish Messi. He should have had at least 3 goals himself. The Chicago defense was in shambles that entire first half. Fortunately, Chris Brady came up a massive the entire game. Yeah. And him and Guti were the only important parts of that entire game. Fuck everybody else.
All right, that's enough Chicago.
Enough Chicago. I know. I don't worry. I've hit the 2 or 3 Chicago fans in our audience. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I bet. You're
thanks
lucky
for the
at
5,
that.
John, or thanks for the 5, John. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Let's go with Stevie.
Let's get to Stevie. Stevie's got some things to say, and don't always agree with Stevie. You know, sometimes he says some weird stuff.
But I love Stevie. You have to love this guy.
You know, even if I disagree with what he's saying, I love the way he approaches it, and I love the way he takes it because he's got his own take on it. He's got his experiences. He's
got a good sense of humor.
He's got a good sense of humor. Yeah. So
all you got to do is say, "Look, I haven't spoken to him yet. I will be speaking to him personally, and hopefully that we can resolve the problems we had moving forward."
Or beyond that, why not?
It's all this nonsense about sensitivity, and I mean, come on, you're two grown adults.
Grown adults.
Speak. What do you
just speak. Talk to each other. Man to man. Come on.
It's not like this was a world war, and this is like fucking Churchill having to sit down with Hitler. This is not what we're talking about here, all right? This is not what went on. Yeah. So we keep acting like people are acting like this was like, okay, was it a big thing in the news? Yeah, sure it was. But really, on human terms, this is totally and absolutely recoverable easily between 2 human beings on a professional level. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many players have talked about coaches they played for they absolutely fucking despised, yet they were professional about it. They started every game and they performed for coaches they despised. It's possible to do. So, Chicago fan here. Shout out from the region, boys. Which region? Sort of the one right under the nut sack. That's where Brett likes to hang out. Yeah. Chicago.
Where are my boys at?
That's right, your boys. All right.
Stevie,
are you surprised?
Sensitivity. I mean, shush, come on.
Are you surprised that he hasn't made the call yet?
Absolutely.
Should he
it's
have
the
already?
First thing he should have done.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Why is Seb acting surprised?
Other than Pulisic, Gio Reyna is absolutely
going
to be pivotal to anything that the US do in the next World Cup and qualifying. They got to qualify first.
No qualifying. Home.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Oops,
there you go.
My bad.
Copa America.
So surely, as a manager, as a coach, you want the best players. Now, Gio Reyna is head and shoulders above 90% of what's in the US have. So the first thing you have to do is look after him.
He's up there in the top.
So the first thing you do is call him. As soon as you become the coach, the first thing you do is you get in touch and you sit down and you fly over and you sit with him.
Maybe not.
And I guess the first question, you have to call him first and say, do you want to play under me?
Which we know he already said he would do.
I mean, that seems
problem,
like a reasonable
that problem
call right
solved.
there. Yeah.
That issue is done. It's solved.
Hey, you want to play with me? Yes. Okay. Moving forward, professional. Yep. That's all it is. I'm not going to take you out for your birthday. I'm not buying you a present. You know, that strippergram is gone. Don't worry about that anymore.
No hand jobs on your birthday anymore. You know?
Yeah. LB says he's in the 99.9999999 percentile.
No shit.
Seriously. Yeah. 90, I think he was being lenient. Come on.
He is.
Yeah.
Joey 499. Joey says it seems like there would be another huge blow up coming. I can't imagine how bad it will be. Another huge blow up. I don't think another blow up's coming unless we're talking about a blow up doll. But I don't think any more blow ups are coming.
It's. I mean, I guess the concept would be thinking about why you need to have the mediator. Are you expecting Gio to throw another temper tantrum? I think everything he's indicated at this point, and as far as just saying, hey, I want to play, I think we've seen him performing with the national team that I don't think there's going to be another blowout. I don't care about your awkwardness. He's going to put it aside. He's got to deal with you a couple hours a day and then game day.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, he's not going to go on vacation with you anymore. That's not for debate. It's just, hey, can you play for me? Okay, sure. There we go. We're good.
Joey, I got to ask you a question. Why do you think there will be another huge blow up coming?
I'll keep an eye on the chat. If you want to post it, man, let me know.
Yeah, let us know. It seems like there's going to be a huge blow up coming. I don't know what that would be, and I don't think there is going to be one because Reyna wants to play and Gregg wants him to play for him. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think that Gregg is reading way too much into this. And the fact that he had to go buy the book, Crucial Conversations, to figure out how to solve this problem and hire the fucking author of the book to give him consultation about how to have this crucial conversation is pitiful. And I'm just joking.
Jeff's got it down for you right here.
Jeff,
one comment.
Gregg needs to be protected from himself. I guess so, which is sad because if you're just a normal human being, this is just not a problem. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, BMR. I did assume that his name meant that
I think all Joeys are Italian. I think that's pretty much a guarantee at this point.
Hey, I'm Joey. I think some shit's gonna blow up here.
Salami sandwich.
It's a goddamn shit is about to fucking blow up. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's about to blow up. And we're asking you, Joey, what's blowing up, buddy? Because I think it's not going to blow. It's already blew up. It blew up like months ago, right? And so now we're just calming it down. Everybody just wants to calm it down.
That's the thing. Having the mediator there makes me think that Berhalter can't quite separate what happened to him after the House Symposium and from Gio.
Can we call it what it is? The Immoral Leadership Conference?
Yes, that's fine. I said House Symposium because it's easier to say, but yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I think we've
I'm
made that.
I'm going Twitterese here, Derek. I can't put the immoral superiority whites or master race.
No. We're not doing that.
Whatever it's called, I don't know. But no.
The Immoral Leadership Conference.
No, so I on Twitter I just keep posting how, you know, because that's what it is, and it's just easier to post that. Everybody that's gonna respond to that knows what that is.
I've only posted as the Immoral Leadership Conference because I'm not lazy.
You sacrifice those characters, Derek.
I'm not lazy because it's important for people to know that conference that was what it was. It's not just a House Symposium. It's a group of fucking goddamn self-involved, self-crowned, self-important fucks who think they have all the answers to the world and that they're going to be the model for leadership going forward.
Having a mediator between the two right now makes me think of one of two things that they were thinking about. Either they think that Gio's going to have another temper tantrum and start saying things, and then it's a he said, she said at that point. Or they're concerned that Gregg is conflating Claudio and Danielle's issue with him with Gio, and that might be an issue at that point. And that might come out.
I bet you.
Why else have a mediator? It makes no sense.
I bet you Claudio's already sat down with Gio and said, "Listen, we can't. Don't let this affect your career. I want you to do and play for the U.S. men's national team. I think let's just work through this with Gregg. You do it. Don't worry about how my mother and I feel about it at this point. Mm-hmm. This is for the best for you. You work with Gregg because you should be playing on the U.S. men's national team, and this shouldn't stop you from doing it." So I'm sure that's what has happened. Sure. Absolutely. Can you imagine a father saying anything different to his son?
I mean, it'd be one of those things like, hey, you're young. You need your career. You do you in this situation.
Yes.
We know where we're at. And, maybe, again, this is another thing. I'm gonna butcher the whole conversation here. But a follower of ours on Twitter had posted and said, hey, the only reason why, he's going this route with getting the mediators because Gregg orchestrated this whole false narrative as far as the blackmail, issue.
Yes.
Now he didn't use the words blackmail. Of course.
He didn't.
He alluded to it, and then it took off.
That was Jeff fucking Carlisle.
It took off.
Remember that, people.
But yeah, so he talked about this, and then another person came in, basically called start insulting him, and then there's a whole thing that went back and forth. But actually, space what we were talking about right there. To tell you the truth,
Jeff fucking Carlisle. That's what we were talking about, and his fucking blackmail horse shit. But the basic bottom line is that has nothing to do with fucking Gio at all. And I understand that Claudio is his dad, and his mom is his mom. But you know what? Just move past it, and I'm sure Claudio told Gio, just go on with it. Be professional. Be a professional player, right?
Yeah. And that's what I would imagine any parent would do at that point. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Nick, does Stevie have anything else to mention here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cut him off, I think. I mean, that basically made the point that we wanted to make here.
I mean, the basic point with Jimmy Conrad and Stevie is this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And if you don't think it's ridiculous, then you are making this much more a tender victual situation than it should be. This is not tender victual situation. This is about two human beings who should have the professionalism to sit down together because we've already heard it from Reyna. I want to play for the U.S. team. I don't care if Gregg's the coach. I'll do it. And then Gregg's got to have the basic common sense to apologize for what he did again, personally to his face and say, but I want to work with you. It's that I want you to be on the team. It's that fucking simple. That's it. It's not. What was the quote? Hey, bud. This is how it's going to be.
This is going to be heavy.
Hey, bud. This is how it's going to be.
I'm making all the 80 references. And I wanted to bring this up when you brought up the Pauly Shore because you said, hey, bud, this is Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
I was curious, actually, to find out anybody in the chat, without Googling, can name a Pauly Shore movie. I'm curious.
I can.
I know you can. Stop it. You're a 90s kid. You're a 90s teen and adult, actually.
Can I name one they can't say? If they're not going to get credit for this one if they say it.
You better not. Oh, yeah, go for it. Why not?
Encino Man. Can't say
All right. Well, no, you
Man.
can't say Encino Man because OK Trey mentioned that way before you.
All right.
And BMR mentioned it. Everybody knows Encino Man.
All right.
Oh, look at John. He gets Biodome.
Biodome. That was such a bad movie. Oh, my God.
Come on, there's another big one.
All right, but while they're doing that,
Son-in-law, well played. More people know Pauly Shore than I thought. I'm kind of surprised. It's kind of like the whole Carrot Top thing. I'm kind of surprised that people know who people are.
By the way, everybody, I cannot see the comments. I do not read the comments during our show because I let Brett pick the ones he wants to show me because I get distracted by the comments. There we go.
I mean, outside of Encino Man, Biodome, and Son-in-Law.
I can't think of another one.
Anything else? No. I mean, in the Army now. Oh my God!
That was horrible.
Bandit. No, it was Erling first, I guess. That did it.
That was
horrible. Well played.
Horrible movie.
He is not, as far as I know, he's not.
He's not in Spaceballs,
and I don't believe he's in Big Lebowski. I don't believe either of those two actually. Until I'm proven otherwise, I don't believe either of those.
Would he have like a guest role in the Big Lebowski? I didn't notice. Like he's a chauffeur in one of the cars that passes by on one of the scenes.
In the Army now, man. What a movie. I make that in the Army now reference all the time. Not on the show by any means. Hey,
buddy. All right, what do we got next? I know it's
we're an hour and 5 minutes in. We might as well get to your favorite segment of the show. You ready, Derek?
All right. Oh, hold on. Here
it comes. Ready?
Hold on.
Get your cursor ready.
I can't. How do I turn off mute? I can't see it.
You'll hit it when I do it, and you'll have to click on the little microphone on your icon.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Here it comes. Ready? Here goes.
Yep.
Here goes.
Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me.
Nope.
The icon is on the top. That stupid fucking thing.
Well, you can do it one more time if you failed. You want to try it again?
We can try. Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me. Yeah, no, it doesn't let me do it.
You failed twice, Derek. We're moving on with life.
How come when I got my little cursor going here on the screen, it doesn't give me an option on muting or unmuting? I get no options. Doesn't give me an option. Do you have a microphone
Here you
on
go,
yours?
Derek. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to unmute you, okay? So get ready to start singing.
Okay,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Here goes.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep. Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me.
All right.
There we
Apparently,
go.
I can't even unmute you. So.
Oh, fucking shit. What a waste of time. And that was so good. I was spot on with it.
No, you did the last show.
On practice, but not for real. Not once we were actually in the show.
I think you did it for real. I think you did.
No, we did in practice. Can you see?
That's right. I threw it up and you should have told me about that. That's right.
Yeah. So you can't do it in live. You can't unblock me. All right, or unmute me. Per Fabrice Hawkins, Jordan Pefok will leave Union Berlin and sign with Gladbach on loan with a purchase option. Hey, that makes perfect sense. He's now the fourth center forward in their lineup and fourth choice. And, they just signed that guy. Behrens is definitely going to be the starter up top.
Yeah.
And they're moving, what's-his-face out left or out right, depending on where they want him. So, yeah, this is a good move for him.
Well, so this is old news, quite frankly, and I know it came out just now, and it's actually official at this point. This right here from USAiders was from the 30th. So as of now, this is official. He's off the Gladbach, and I guess since the issue where Cincinnati said, "Nah, we're not gonna entertain any offers for Vasquez at this point." Sorry, Gladbach. Come back in January, maybe. Now Jordan's on loan, and it's not a permanent transfer by any means. So maybe they're just like biding their time, and then January they'll make their bid for Vasquez, and that's who they're planning on going with moving forward. But they got rid of Thuram. Who did he go to? Fuck. Where did he go to?
Who?
Thuram.
Oh, I don't remember.
Either way, he's gone, which means they really don't have an actual starting center mid forward at this point. So maybe this is actually a really good move for Pefok.
It really is. And, I'm a little nervous about Gladbach in general this season. So we'll see what happens. They lost some players that were pretty critical players for them. So we'll see. So he went to Inter, did Thuram. So I don't know. I mean, listen, it's got to be better than where he's at right now. He's only going to get spare minutes at the end of games right now, based on his performance by the end of the season.
You mean with Union?
With Union, but with Gladbach, he's got a chance to go in there.
It's fucking open at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you take again. Somebody correct me on this pronunciation, but I'm saying Thuram for the time being until somebody tells me otherwise.
It's Thuram.
Is Thuram?
Thuram, yes.
Thuram. Okay.
He's French, I believe, right?
Yeah, he is. Yes. Once, who actually played center forward for Gladbach outside of him?
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I couldn't name him. I mean, I watched a number of Gladbach games too.
Yeah, but like you, I was just watching Joe Scally. So
that's true. That's true. But I mean, it's
and that happens a lot. Like I'll look up the game. If Scally only played 10 minutes, I only watched the last 10 minutes of the game. So
that's funny. That's how I am with Nats. I'm not watching live. It's like when Aronson went out in the 21st minute, or sorry,
I stopped watching after that.
I only have to watch it to that point, right?
Right. Well, actually, I fast forwarded because I think PFOC got like 8 minutes at the end or something.
That's
like
right.
That. Yeah. I was hoping he would score. No, I knew he wouldn't because I already looked it up, but I wanted to see how he played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's sort of like the Paxton Aronson of game today, right?
Right. Yep. I watched that all 83 minutes he was in. What's this? We aren't able to connect with your services. Please. Oh, you fucking piece.
Sucks to be you.
What's that all about?
Don't worry about that. You're on a live stream. Don't worry about your TV. Right here.
All right. So here we go. What else? What's next?
I want to bring up Tanner Tessmann's goal.
Hey, and the reason we can play this, people, is because we don't give a fuck about monetizing this video. So if you agree with that and you like the fact that we're playing these videos, like, I don't know, give us do a super chat.
The pennies that we're going to get, because by the time, because since we curse, since we do a lot of really suspect content, especially early on, our monetization never really kicked on until like a day or two later. And at that point, 90% of our views have already been viewed, you know?
Yeah, so fuck it. We said fuck it. We're not monetizing any of the live fucking videos. So
worthless.
So make us feel good, and if you can, provide a super chat. If you can't, don't. If you don't have the money, don't do it. We understand that could be the case. A lot of people living paycheck to paycheck. All right, what do you got here?
So this is the Tanner Tessmann goal. Did you watch
it? I did. Man. I love this.
Tanner Tessmann won the match for Venezia as captain.
Yes.
So people are talking like, oh, he's got a ceiling. I'm like, yeah, the ceiling is going to be Serie A. He's not hell bent with Venezia. He's going to be back in Serie A unless Venezia happens to go up this season, which is possible. They almost did it last season, despite the fact the horrendous start they had.
They had a horrible start, but
start. But you know, they still got to the playoffs, which, mind you, in Serie B is like 8 teams. It's practically an MLS playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, they got to that point, which is good. Whether or not Venezia goes up, Tessmann is not helping for Serie B moving forward. He's going to get interest. He's going to get pulled in.
Who is saying they know his ceiling already?
Oh, people on Twitter say that all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how you can say that.
Everybody talks about like, oh, why was this person brought in but not Tessmann? You know. So in this situation for this lineup for this upcoming window, that the Danish left back Lund.
Yeah.
He got brought in, but he just signed for Palermo, who happens to be in Serie B.
That's a snatchy thing. You know that. And I'm not talking about pussy. That's a snatchy thing, right? That's like, oh, yeah, let's tempt this guy over, let him see, because it's possible that guy's ceiling.
Right?
And we got a real problem at left back, so this guy could be the
backup. We got a real problem with the 6 at this point. I mean...
Well, but Tessmann's locked in. So if Tessmann continues to play really good, he'll eventually make it on the squad. Anybody that thinks that they know what Tessmann's fucking ceiling is already, I'm sorry you don't. Because what has Tessmann done since he arrived as a fucking football kicker in goddamn FC Dallas? All he has done is get better every fucking season. Every fucking season. You tell me this is the end of the progression? I don't see how you could say that unless you're fucking Nostradamus, because the trend does not provide you that evidence. The trend says it's the opposite of that he keeps getting better and smarter and wiser every season.
Well, it took him half a season to even establish himself in Venezia. And at that point, he started taking over time from Busio while in Serie A. Got time there. They got relegated because the team sucked. They went down, and they almost got. I mean, by halfway through the season, they were bound to be relegated again.
Yep.
And then they got back up into the playoffs. And guess what? Here we are, his 3rd season with Venezia, and he's the fucking captain.
And the cornerstone of the midfield. He plays the goddamn center midfield. Busio is playing again. But he's not playing. He's not playing 90 fucking minutes, and he ain't the fucking team captain.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, let's just
Apparently, Luke just filed the one-time switch. I have not been aware of that, but LB is saying that.
Yeah. If you've already played and committed to a country, even though it's even on the under 21s, if you're going to play for the big boy team, you do have to file a one-time switch. I think it was
the issue again, right?
It's Filippo fucked that up earlier this week when he was talking about it. He's like, well, it doesn't cap time. Yes, it is. It's going to cap time.
Well, again, it's a Dejas issue, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, the same scenario.
Absolutely. If you're going to switch from Denmark to this team and you're going to go play for the big boy team, that requires a one-time switch, and you only get one.
Mm-hmm.
The ski, $5. Thank you, brother. Because fuck the system. Yeah, brother, we agree. Yeah. All right.
They want to keep limiting us. We're just like, fuck it. Why are we even doing this?
Yeah, fuck it. We're gonna play any video we want. Fuck it.
We'll make our money via super chats. And quite frankly, there's some shows where we don't make any super chats. That's gonna happen. And you know what? We're not saying, hey guys, make sure you super chat us. You guys super chat us how you want.
Yeah.
But we're making more per show off the super chats than we will ever make on the penance that is our monetization money.
Yeah, the pennies they give.
Fuck the system.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Here comes the amazing goal of the century for Tessmann.
Yes, let's do it. Dun, dun,
what's he gonna do? I mean, it's out there, and it's off to the right. There's no way he's going to shoot this goal. What's he going to do? Goalkeeper's even favoring that side. What's he doing? Beat him near post.
Yep.
Beat him near post. What was the goalkeeper doing in that situation?
I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Picking his
goalkeeper
nose?
Did not expect it. Nobody would expect that.
Nobody really would expect you to do it near side like that. That's weird. But he does ram. He cranks the fucking shit out of it.
Though. Oh, yeah. It is a gorgeous goal.
Yep. Love it. All right, Tanner, you just keep it up, buddy. Don't worry about the whole lunch thing. You'll get your shot. You'll get your shot. Get Venezia to Serie A. That's all I got to say. Get it. Make it happen. Looks good so far this season. Looks good. A lot better than last season's start. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got?
They announced they pulled the groups for the Champions League. So I figured we'd just go over them real quick. Don't have to talk about it much, but just go over the list.
Okay. Let's
see how the U.S. players fare.
All right. Let's partake. Okay.
All right. That's a zoomed in. Can you read this?
Yeah. So Group A's Bayern, Manchester United, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. All right. Well,
I don't care about that group.
Bayern's winning that group.
Yeah, 100%. And you have to imagine that Man U's got to take the second, right?
You would imagine, but this isn't your grandfather's Man United.
Fair enough.
Group B, Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV, and Lens. Wow, that's a tough group.
Well, PSV's taking this because they got Pepe, right?
I mean, you would think so. But Pepe doesn't get to play, even when they're up 5-0.
Oh, my God. That was fucking ridiculous, right?
The Young's got to play 90 minutes when they're up 5-0, 4-0. What the fuck is that shit? And people were telling us the other week, oh, don't panic. I wasn't panicking. I was concerned. And now I'm more fucking concerned because Tillman got in. Des played the whole game. They're up 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever the fuck it was. They're easily going to win the game.
10 minutes. They're up 5-1.
Give them fucking 10 minutes.
Time. Let them show it.
The fuck is up with this shit?
What's the word? Bringing Pepe in at that point, because you spent some hefty money on him. You gotta fucking play him from time to time.
Do not make me watch PSV games and make me wish De Jong pulls a hammy. This is not fair to me. I don't want to see any player get hurt, but I started thinking, oh, maybe De Jong will pull a hammy. But anyhow,
Derek's starting to pull his super chats actually, and starting to Tanya Harding De Jong.
Fly me out the Netherlands, baby. All right. Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, Union Berlin. That looks like a Napoli Real Madrid group there.
You'd got to imagine. I mean, Union might fight for it, but
maybe.
I would put money on Napoli and Real Madrid taking Real Madrid then Napoli.
I would love to see Real Madrid just go 0-6 in the series and go out because fuck them. Group D. I'm sorry if you're a Real Madrid fan, by the way.
I'm not.
No, you're not. You're not. I'm talking about people out there.
No, I'm saying I'm not sorry. Pick a better team.
If you don't know me, I will have to clarify. I am a big club hater. I hate big clubs, and I will not lie. All right. Benfica, Inter, Salzburg, Real Sociedad. Well, okay, that looks like an Inter with a battle between nobody. Really, maybe Real Sociedad and Benfica will battle that out. But I think Salzburg.
It could be anybody at that point. I mean, I would think Salzburg probably is the weakest link there.
They are the weakest link.
But you never know. When you're talking about that, you never know.
Yeah.
I would probably think Inter and Benfica just from history standpoint, but you know, upsets happen.
Yep, they do. Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio, Celtic. Celtic are so fucked in this group, dude. They are so fucking done.
I'm sorry, but can you name a group that they wouldn't be fucked in right now?
That's true.
I think at this point, the years of Celtic or Rangers really dominating and doing well in not dominating by any means,
but doing
well enough in the Champions League are probably gone.
They are long gone. Yeah,
long gone.
I mean, they might get lucky and get a win against
a year here or there. Yeah, I
Feyenoord or whatever. I mean, at home versus Feyenoord, maybe at best. Patty,
possibly home against Lazio too. It's possible, I guess.
I don't think so. Lazio is just a way better team. Paris Saint-Germain, Dortmund, Melon, and Newcastle. What the fuck?
That's a group.
That is brutal. That is brutal group.
I don't even want to predict. I don't even know how to predict.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Paris Saint-Germain are going to finish last in this group.
You think PSG's going to hit last?
Yes.
Oh, okay, it's a thing.
I mean, who they got? They got Mbappe, which actually they got rid of the problem child.
I'm thinking Milan and PSG are my two moving on.
Oh, I don't.
I don't know. I don't know. That's an insanely tough group. Any one of those teams could move on.
I think it's between Dortmund, Milan, and Newcastle.
Again, I think any one of those groups can move on.
I think the team from Gay Paris is done. I think they're done.
Fair.
All right.
Fair. It's possible. It's fair.
Group G, Man City, Leipzig. That's really
third
small.
Group. That third group.
Svezia? Is that what that says?
Crvena.
Crvena? Okay.
Crvena
Zvezda. Anyhow,
that's not a real team.
They're done. They're done.
That's like the Flying Eagles or whatever the fuck that, or the police or whatever the fuck, or sheriffs or whatever the fuck that team was called.
Well, there was a team called Sheriff. Yeah,
I know. So my point is that it's a fake team, right?
No, I mean it is a real team.
Not a fake
young boys. Oh, man, this is kind of weirdly imbalanced. It seems like a team like Young Boys or Zvezda should be in the Group F because Group F is so fucking loaded. But that's how the draw goes. So that's just Man City and Leipzig.
Well, I mean, there's no group like Group F. Group F is just a certified fuck you.
That's why it's called Group F.
Yeah.
Group fuck you in the ass. All right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Fuck. Group H. Barcelona, Porto, another weak ass group. Barcelona got lucky. I mean, not that Porto's weak, but I mean Shakhtar Donetsk can surprise you.
Well,
but
let's just say Barcelona's sitting there going like, thank God I'm not in Group F.
Yeah, this should be a group they escape easily. Antwerp are totally done. They're done.
This is unfortunate for those. And we have
Sam Vines.
We have 3 Americans in Group F. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, Sam Vines is in Group H. He's gonna get fucked too. They're gonna lose that.
Hey, you know what? I'm just happy enough he gets play time there.
Well, he did. He played the last game.
I heard he did well though.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get to watch it, but I heard.
I didn't either. I just read the reports.
Yeah.
Translated
and
from.
It's funny because people on Twitter were sitting there posting like memes and stuff like that, like the meme from not Infinity War, In-Game, where he's like, "Oh, maybe I judged you too harshly," you know.
Yeah.
So you have a bunch of people like, "Oh, Sam Vines, maybe he's doing okay." I'm like, No, we were saying this like a year ago. Last season, he was doing incredibly well until he got injured.
Yeah, it's not fair to criticize him just because he disappeared because of an injury for so long.
So it's one of those things. I think he's in contention for that left back position. I mean, I feel like he's got to be above Jones at this point. He's definitely above Bello.
Yep, and even though he looks like that character on Star Trek with the pointy teeth and the big ears, you know which one I'm talking about? Hey, I don't judge a book by its cover.
Was it Next Generation or Deep Space Nine with the big head and ears and what are you talking about?
And the pointy teeth, yeah.
Somebody's got to have it in the chat. Somebody's got to watch Star Trek more than I do. I don't watch much.
I just don't remember anything.
Forgot his name, and I know I've heard it recently, but I'll never remember it because I don't follow the fucking show.
Well, I used to watch quite a bit of it. All right, so there's your group stage draw. And we will now move on to the next stage of the show, which is maybe the actual real part of the show where we review the roster. Is that where we're at? I don't know. Brett controls.
I got 3 more fluff pieces here, Derek. No, just
better be about stepsisters, bastard. All right. All right.
Oddly enough, they're all about stepsisters.
I just inhaled my own spit.
Thank you for the description. Appreciate that.
It tastes great. All right. Like you could taste shit in your lungs.
Of course.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to mute myself.
So you're choking on there. You're not tasting by any means.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to mute myself.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to bring up BMR's comment here where he says 29 got a lot wrong. A lot of the roster wrong.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
And this is one of those scenarios where you may hear news a week out or a week and a half out, 2 weeks out, and it might not be accurate. Like he talked about how he hasn't talked to Pepe. Well, maybe he heard that news a couple weeks back, and he's talked to Pepe since, and he said, "Hey, you're coming in."
So this is something 29 is going to have to figure out, obviously, as he goes forward, right? Mm-hmm. We know he has connections to players. We know he has connections to Wasserman, but you know what? You can't go around taking little tidbits of what you heard or even personal information that you've heard and then draw a conclusion necessarily, right?
Oh yeah.
You gotta kind of wait. And you might say, this is what I think, but you don't come out declaratively and say, this is what's going to happen.
I don't think he has to even wait at that point. He goes, hey, this is what I've heard. Take it with a grain of salt. Blah, 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 you know?
Yeah, I think he needs to do a little more of that because otherwise, like we were talking about in the show with 29, where we're saying, like, our show, how much bullshit have we fed you? We haven't fed you any bullshit. And so we haven't had to eat any crow. We did one time, but that was on a prediction, I believe. So
the only time we ever ate crow was when we said that Acosta shouldn't be on the roster because he sucks donkey balls. In the very next game, he was like man of the match.
He played well, yeah.
But then again, the following matches he sucked donkey balls. So
yeah. So like,
were we really wrong? I don't know.
We're not going to provide you anything that we haven't absolutely confirmed beyond all belief. And if we haven't confirmed it, we'll let you know it's conjecture.
Yeah.
And we're not going to
We talk of rumors all the time.
We do.
And we talk of transfers, we talk of rumors, we talk of everything. I pull up random shit on fucking Twitter. We talk about it. Not saying like, I guarantee you that Balogun's going to Chelsea. It was like the news for like a week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's going to Monaco. And that's the thing. When you start putting all your eggs in one basket, you're going to get called out from time to time. It's going to happen. And Judgmental Deity says a rare moment where 29's L is a win for the community. Yes, that's true. Yes, we definitely won with this roster.
Yes, because it is better than we thought it was going to be based on the feedback we were getting from 29. So this actually, thank God,
and what we would just expect with Berhalter, right? I mean, it's you would have expected some of his Berhalterisms.
Yeah, I would expected Morris or Roldan to be on here,
or
somebody
Long.
weird. Yeah, somebody not weird, but somebody who's a big fucking Berhalter cocksucker would be on this team. But we didn't get any of the cocksuckers.
Yedlin, where's he?
Oh, yeah. He's
because
not
that
on
was the
here.
thing when Diego was like, oh yeah, Yedlin's gonna be there. He's Berhalter's number 2, and I'm like, dude. He's not even on my list.
Yeah.
Why are we bringing him up here? Why not bring Scally? Scally's not going to be here. Pepe wasn't going to be there. Tillman wasn't going to be there. Yeah, I mean, he was definitely he either has old news in that situation, or he was fed incorrect news.
He was fed incorrect news. So
that
would be my guess.
Again, it's one of those things when you're as a content creator, you have to tiptoe around that, and I'm sure he's fully aware of this. And maybe the news that he received, or maybe the players he talked to, were wholeheartedly saying, "Hey, this is what happened. This is happening.
Yes.
I haven't heard from him. Blah blah," and that was news. Things change, and this is what I was trying to say whenever he was like, "Hey, you guys have to take my opinion, what I've heard, etc. You have to take those separately. You know how I say it." And I'm like, "Well, I take everything on Twitter with a grain of salt."
Yes, I do. You do. Not everybody does. And if you're, I think the other thing you got to work with if you're 29 and you're talking to the players directly is their opinions are going to be wrong. They just are sometimes. Their thoughts about the process are going to be incorrect. They're not inside Gregg Berhalter's fucking hamster cage, right? So they don't know how the wheel is spinning. And so there's only so much you can take away from that. And I don't know how much the information came from Wasserman as well. So we don't know that. And anyhow, I think Diego still has a great role to play, and we're going to have him back on.
Oh,
but
100%.
Yeah, but I think that, again, it's just it's a tricky fine line to walk, right? You got to know when what you're saying is conjecture versus what you're saying is absolute truth versus a prediction. And I mean, if you're in his spot, and that's a tricky spot to be, you kind of like say, well, this is my prediction. This isn't something I know for sure. So this is a prediction, or this is something I know, are two distinctly different things. He's going to have to start. And I said that like 3 shows ago when we had him on. Like, hey, you're going to have to be clear about that going forward, because people are going to hold your fucking nuts to the fire, man. It's ugly out there. So,
well, and as Kevin here says,
Ferengis! Yes!
Deep Space Nine had a character called Quark.
Yes!
And that's who you're thinking of, yes.
Yes, the Ferengi. Yeah. He reminds me a little, and I'm sorry, Sam Vines, I'm not trying to be offensive. It's just the first thing that came to my mind when I saw a more recent picture of you, and then a picture of you 6 months ago and a picture of you a year ago. That's just what came to mind, Ferengi.
Well, let me hold off on this until we get to the defense. Let's talk about the goalkeepers real quick.
And personally, by the way, people might think we look like fucking, Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. I don't care. It's okay if you have that criticism.
I better be Boo Boo, man. I swear to God. I better be the young one.
We're grown men. We have kids, so we've had a full life.
Hey,
and even if we're ugly, at least
my picnic basket.
We fucked the Ranger, Boo Boo. All right.
Fuck him right up his ass. That's how if Yogi really wanted to pick up his population, his fan base again, he really needed to have an X-rated, not an X-rated, maybe an R-rated Yogi.
I think there is one out there.
Hey, Boo Boo, fucked up guy with the picnic basket right now. Do it, and you gotta mix it in with what's his face, the exit stage left.
Oh yeah, who's that? Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's set the. Oh, I can't either. Let's set the whole fucking forest on fire. Fuck it. All right, goalkeepers. Drake Callender, Ethan Horvath, and Matt Turner. My only mild surprise here is that Ethan Horvath's on here. I just thought, what's the point? Bring in your boy, Slonina, and
I would have brought Slonina. Yeah. I think Gregg wanted a solid enough backup that he's fully familiar with, in case the worst of worst happens.
Hey, at least there's no Sean Johnson. All right.
Well, he's injured, but yes.
Well, I know, but
hallelujah.
There could have been some other weird shit on here too, right?
Yeah, there very well could have been. Yes.
So Callender's not going to get to play, so it's not a big deal. It's going to be Turner and Turner in both games.
100%, yes. They kept talking about wouldn't it be nice if Callender got one of the games? You could have brought him in because obviously the opposition is not that great.
I doubt it.
No, it's going to be Berhalter's going to want to come out with a confident win-win. That's what he's hoping for at this point. He's going to play Turner both matches. He's going to get a visual of calendar, and maybe he can keep him in mind moving forward.
Do you see that motherfucker bragging about the fact that, hey, next World Cup, 8 teams could make the fucking World Cup from Asia? And by the way, the 2 teams we're playing are ranked 9th and 10th in Asia. So these are good teams. What a fucking load of shit. Like, there are some good teams in Asia. All right. But the top teams like Australia, Korea, Japan. All right. Those are real fucking.
Thank you.
Snagglepuss. Yeah. Okay. Those 3 teams are very, very good. Okay. And then you got some Middle Eastern teams that are okay as well and pretty good. Like Iran would be competitive.
Yeah.
But don't compare the top 4 of Asia with number 8 and 9 in Asia, because it drops off pretty quickly after about
happens
5.
in CONCACAF too. Look at the top. Let's go with the top 3 or 4 in CONCACAF, and then measure it to the top 8th or 9th in CONCACAF.
Can you imagine if Greg?
It drops down quite a bit.
Can you imagine if Greg said, "Oh well, their next World Cup, there's up to 8 teams or 7 teams that could qualify from CONCACAF. So playing the 9th and 10th best team is really those are good teams." You mean?
Good luck against Guatemala, bitches.
Guatemala and goddamn Nicaragua. You can't use that logic, Greg. That's not how this fucking works. Anyhow, Celentano is pretty good. Yes, I agree.
He was one of the other MLSers that I would have considered besides Calendar in this situation.
Right. Defenders, thoughts on Paredes as defense? He's done it before in the MLS. So,
but I feel like with Wolfsburg, he's played more or less as a left winger, right?
Left wing back.
A wing back. Okay.
Yes.
Fair,
it's not like he's devoid of defense.
And I guess if you're looking at how Berhalter generally plays, now we won't get into the formation here just in a sec, but generally plays with his backs. I mean, you have Jedi and you have Des, and they're practically wing backs, despite the fact they have back responsibilities, but they're constantly getting up in the attack.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he also specified how by 2026, his team is going to have both a 4-3-3 and a 3-4-3 under their belts.
Why?
Or some variation of the 3-4-3. Back is what he talks about.
How come he wouldn't say 4-2-3-1?
I don't know, because he's a dick.
He's a dick. That's correct. The answer is A. Yes, he's a dick. I mean, yeah, to come out and say, yeah, I'm either going to play a 3-4-3 or a 4-3-3. What about the best fucking formation we played so far with goddamn Gio Reyna as the heart of the team? What a fucking dick. He couldn't just say, yes, I like the 4-2-3-1 as well. We'll probably even investigate playing that.
We're gonna just partially jump off of the roster itself and jump onto this, because this is what's going to take us into what you were just talking about.
Old smelly cock and balls himself, Alexi.
So Mark starts off by saying, I think oftentimes the system gets in the way of free flow in the final third. Derek, what's your take on that?
I think that's absolutely correct. And then Alexi
would agree.
Alexi, being the psychotic fucking soccer terrorist that he is, including, remember we were talking about sociopaths and how a sociopath handles a very good point. A sociopath will put this. Again, what does that mean? As if he doesn't know what it means, because he does know what it means. But a sociopath asks that kind of question. What about the system inhibits them? Like, you want him to write a fucking essay about it, you fucking cocksucker, when you know exactly what he's saying? Why would you do that? Why would you post something like that? Because you're basically looking for him to respond to you and make an error. And so you can criticize him, you fucking cocksucker.
It's 100%
Alexi, I'm
a gotcha.
sick of this shit. Yes.
Yep. It's a gotcha.
Fuck you.
He's hoping that he comes back with a response that's going to be like easily disproven. Like, oh, well, there's no I don't even know what you could possibly say, because anything I say here is going to be an obvious diss at the system. So, Derek, what is when you hear, hey, what about the system inhibits? What about Berhalter's system last cycle inhibits our offensive prowess in the offensive third?
Hold on. Even worse. by Alexi Lalas is that in his very first interview with Gregg, when Gregg got the job, he sat down and asked Gregg, hey, I know you got this whole system thing you're putting up on the board here, and we're all looking at it. That's what he said. But as you well know, as the national team coach, you really don't have a lot of time, right? You don't have a lot of time with the players. So putting and navigating in a system-based setup for the national team is going to be difficult. So you're going to have to make some compromises. Are you prepared to make those compromises? And Gregg at the time said, yes. Okay. Did Gregg make those compromises? Absolutely not. Because if
World Cup, a little bit.
He did during World Cup. But if he had earlier on, we wouldn't have seen such goddamn constipation and a number 9 and a center forward who is never fucking involved. I don't care who the fuck it is with the goddamn play on this team and was stuck in this goddamn 4-3-3 like a psycho who refuses to try anything different, which is why it was a breath of fucking fresh air to have a 4-2-3-1 and having fucking Reyna playing in the middle of the goddamn park as the goddamn orchestrator of this fucking team. And if fucking Alexi Lalas can't see that, he's either a dumb fuck or he's a goddamn sociopath with this question, which is what he is. A sociopath doesn't fucking deal with this comment with an actual response, but yet an arrogant response, which requires you as the fucking person to respond to his stupid fucking question when he already knows the fucking answer, and he does know the answer, and that's why he's a dick.
Yep.
D-I-C-K, dick.
Derek, I couldn't interrupt you because you're hitting my points spot on.
Okay.
My first 2 points was Gregg's inability of utilizing a 9.
Yes.
He couldn't do it.
Right.
And you know what happened after Gregg left and Hudson and BJ took over? The first thing happened was Pepe came out and said, hey, under Hudson's regime, I feel like I have more ability and more freedom to flow throughout the match. And guess what? Pepe never looked so good under Hudson that he did for Berhalter in the situation.
And Hudson made a point of it, by the way, Brett, prior to the game, talking about how they were going to come out and play differently.
Yeah.
And they did. And he said the system.
Point number 1.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, like, the system is still there, but what we're going to do is free up the guys to be more artistic and creative.
Well,
yes.
And you hit upon it too, but you know what allowed Pepe to be free in that situation?
The formation?
You incorporated a fucking 10.
Oh,
somebody to fill in the hole constantly from the defense to the midfield to the attack.
Right.
Because what happens under Berhalter's in the 4-3-3 is you had Musa and McKinney checking back in the defense, and then once we go into the attack, who filled in that void? Sargent, Pepe, Ferreira, Pifak. They all had to check back into the midfield to receive the ball and to try to distribute out. And at that point, we're pressing up so hard that our 9 is back with our 8s. We have no 9. So you have Hudson brought in the change of formation, the 4-2-3-1, or 4-2-3-1 or the 4-2-1-3 or whatever you want to fucking word it at the situation. But it changed everything. We never looked so good in the attack once we went to an offensive-minded person who could break down the defense with a single pass that didn't require the 9 to check back into the midfield and take him out of position.
There you go, Alexi. There's your fucking answer, cocksucker.
All you gotta say.
And you already knew the answer, anyhow. That's why your response to this guy is offensive.
So I got a couple more points though. But first, the ski says for $2. Here we go again.
Here we go again on my own.
we need to have a Lawless song. So whenever we bring up a Lawless topic, we have that. Here we go again. Yeah. So the other issue that I think with the system that made our offense stagnant and shitty is we were predictable.
Yes.
What did we do with the ball? We passed it around. Passed it up the line.
Right around.
Brought it across.
Yep.
It was down a fucking playbook. And it was PowerPoint after PowerPoint hit into them. Here's what you got to do. Here's how we're going to play. And if you look at the stats for for the game, as far as like who touched the ball, who made all the passes and stuff like that. Guess who was not on that sheet at all? They had the map of the game, and they show all the arrows where all the passes are coming from. Guess who never got the fucking ball?
It's
the
hilarious.
9. The 9.
Yeah.
It is a fucking cup around the 9, and the 9 is useless.
I'm making a version of it right here. Can you see?
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. Here we go.
Can't.
Shit. Add you back. There we go.
Oh, fuck.
Make it work, Derek. Come on.
God damn it.
Put it in front of yourself.
There it is.
In front of yourself.
You see that at the bottom? Yeah. That's what it looked like.
It looked like a fucking cup around the 9. The 9 never seen the stuff. Never saw it. It is stupid.
Yep. And again, Brett, good points. Alexi knows this.
Yeah.
He fucking knows this. He's being a rat-ass bastard about this. He's being a sociopath. Like a real person would say, I understand what you're saying, but maybe he's got another point to make. But instead of saying that, he's got to question the guy like he's a doofus, like he has making a nonsensical comment. Because you've already interviewed him about this, Alexi, and other people interviewed. In fact, we got the interview he just did where they asked him the exact same question about his system. So don't tell me there isn't one, because even Gregg knows there's one, because he says the word system and the players say the word system about a gazillion fucking times over and fucking over again. And we've seen the system. So now we know what it is, and you should too, you doofus. All right.
I got one more point for Lalas that I wanted to bring up. And it was having center backs with no capability of passing the ball forward.
Zimmerman, Long, Miles.
Those were big. Yeah, big. Yeah, those are your big 3 right there.
Fixing the World Cup with Ream, but
and what happened in the World Cup with Ream?
Last second,
Zimmerman always passed it to Ream. Ream played the ball forward, which opened up the attack, which made things easier. You can't just do this constant that old age 2020 Chelsea play where it's just like from wing back to center back to center back to center back,
shoehorn
back to center back, center back, wing back, center back, back. Yeah, they completed 90% of the passes, but it was back and forth to each other. They weren't going anywhere.
It was the whole shoehorn thing again. You got all the marks around, and it's a big shoehorn, and it's ridiculous. It is.
Yeah.
So, hey, Mark Concordia, I'm sorry you had to endure that rather distasteful and what I would call a very inauthentic question from somebody who's a fucking sociopath.
The only thing I can take from this is that the comment section under that was predominantly flaming him. Oh, here's a reason why. Oh, here's a reason why. Oh, here's a reason why. It's just like,
fuck him,
dude. Seriously, come on.
You will never be on
can't have watched. You can't have watched that entire cycle, especially qualifying and on, and not sit there and say, "Wow, we are quite ineffective in the attack." Outside of that one match against Honduras, that one match against Panama, where we scored 9 of our X amount of goals.
Yeah,
and the rest of them were all like 1-0 grinds or 2-1 grinds, and it's just like, how can you possibly look at that week in, week out?
And
not sit there and go like, man, something's amiss here.
Dude, he's fucking criticizing himself. That is the other frustrating part about it. So it's like he does know he's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
That's all. Dest, okay, we knew that. Lund was kind of a surprise for most people, even a surprise for me.
I mentioned Lund was out of left field. And I think it was Chris Scary or somebody was like, yeah, I only heard of Lund from Derek when he brought him up on a Yanks Abroad at some point.
Well, that was got to be eons ago, but okay.
Yeah. I know a couple other people brought him up too, like as far as like last year. But I'm like, that threw me off. I'm like, who the fuck is Christopher Lund?
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was a hacking guy, but I didn't know that he'd even moved to Palermo. I'll be honest with you. So
apparently he had interest in some recently promoted Serie A team, but he ended up going to Palermo instead.
Yeah. I was surprised to see him here, but I understand why he's there. He's a left back, and we don't have one. So outside Outside of Jedi.
Yeah, we don't have backup. Yeah.
Outside of Jedi, we don't have one. Mark McKenzie, a little surprised after getting left off the World Cup, but this might be a little bit of a, a little reach around stroke and saying, "Hey, buddy, I'm sorry I left you off."
Jimmy brought up a comment. He goes, "It's weird because all of last season when he was doing really well, he wasn't getting called up. But now that he's not doing very well and he's not getting consistent playing time, he got called up."
He played again this week, so
sure
90. Yeah. I think they may have. I think they lost. They did lose in the one of the stupid fucking Conference League champions UEFA
the Europa shits or whatever.
Yeah, that I don't.
Yeah, Europa. Yeah,
that I don't give two fucks about. All right. I mean, I just looked into it. Then we got Kevin Paredes. We already talked about Tim Ream. Good pick.
Is this actually Paredes' first cap? I thought he's played with us before. Does he get a cap even if he doesn't get to play? Like, do they have to make the field before they get?
They got to make the field. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That might be the issue.
Tim Ream, great call up. Chris Richards. People keep saying he's got to move somewhere.
Well, and Berhalter made a comment, and I don't know if that's one of your timestamps, but he made a comment basically stating that because somebody was like, "Hey, what about Chris Richards not getting much playing time?" And he goes, "Well, we may hear something about that in the next couple of days." Now, I wondered if that was him getting a playing time just recently.
He did.
I felt like the interview happened after that, though.
He did get to play.
I don't know if Berhalter was just insinuating that Richards was going to get loaned out or sold or something.
I got it here, but it's like a couple pages back. He played in Leagues Cup for Crystal Palace, and he'll probably play like Leagues Cup, Carabao, all the other shit that don't matter that much. He'll get to play that this season.
I heard he played real well, though.
He did. Well, because he's good.
Goal line saves and shit like that. Yeah, it's because he's good. Yeah, I agree.
He's really good. And if it wasn't for the fact that that pairing that they have has been so goddamn solid, I mean, and then if one of them goes down injured or gets an injury, he will be the next guy up. There's no doubt. Will he stay there? We don't know.
How often do you really sub in a center back? I mean, up 1-0 and you're getting worn down.
It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen often.
Right, unless you switch to a back three or whatever. Jedi Robinson, well, know him.
No surprise.
Miles Robinson, I mean, I'm not shocked. He's a favorite.
I think it's no surprise. Yeah.
I mean, obviously CCV's hurt. Trusty's just kind of getting his shit together. Hasn't started yet for Sheffield United. I don't know who else you want to throw in the bag there.
The equation.
Well, obviously Brooks is, and we've told you guys
that took off on Twitter too, man. People are like, "Oh man, if this is true, then blah 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 blah." I'm like, we've been saying it for a while.
For 2 years, Brett.
We've been saying that. I know some more details came out as far as like going into the locker room, throwing shit, and getting in his face and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as having a kerfuffle with Greg, I mean that's been pretty obvious since Honduras.
We broke it here, folks, 2 years ago, and I remember when Jimmy came on our show, and I was telling about that in the pre-show. He's like, "Oh, really? I didn't hear that." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, this shit's real. That's what happened." And he's like, "Okay. I mean, I trust you, but I mean, I can't confirm it." I don't blame him for questioning and and wondering. Like, he didn't criticize. He's just like, "Yeah, I haven't heard that, so I don't know." But can it be more obvious now to anybody? It's so fucking obvious.
It's hysterical. It's hysterical that Hudson was willing to bring him back into the fold, and then once he left, all of a sudden it was like, he needs a preseason to get back up, and then we'll start thinking about it.
And the other thing on that, in that fucking lane is, I mean, even back then people were like, "Oh yeah, what's your source?" Like, what if I fucking tell you who my source is? Do you think that fucking source is ever going to tell me anything ever again?
One, we're fucking that person, and then two, we're fucking ourselves.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking ourselves.
So you don't have to believe us. We're going to say what we believe, and in this situation, we have it on good sources that X, Y, and Z with Brooks. And we'll flat out say, and we'll put our names on the line. Who the
we did.
Cares?
And we did put our names on the line.
Yeah.
Did we lie to you? We absolutely did not lie to you. It's absolutely the truth.
Yep.
So, all right. So you know it. And we were the only ones saying it back then. No one else is willing to say it, except we had Meg come on and sort of semi-confirm a little bit of what we were asking her.
She was actually quite vocal on about it, and it was kind of surprising that somebody who has a kind of a press pass badge and everything like that, that you'd imagine that they would be like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't say anything about this. But she's like, nope, this is what I witnessed. This is what I experienced and who I talked to. And they said this. Yep. And it's great. The press shouldn't be afraid of getting denied access.
Absolutely
quite frankly,
not.
And USSF should not be such big-ass fucking babies to deny access.
Well,
I'm sorry, Filippo. You've been really rude to us recently, so you can't come to this practice. Fuck off.
I know. I mean, the funny thing is they did give Pete a press pass. You know, he's got one for all the Zoom ones, right?
Oh no, not.
But they've never called on him a single time to ask a question. So there you go. Joe Scally. So Pete knows that, so he's just there to watch the live show. Joe Scally.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Okay.
There's Diego was talking about how he wasn't going to be included.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is stupid. Why are we possibly including Yedlin, who's done at this point?
Yeah.
It's done moving forward. It's not going to happen. He's not going to be in the next World Cup. Let's not spend the time on this.
Well, he's not alone. A lot of people said that Joe Scally's comments about Gregg's system was when Scally, Lalas, said that Berhalter's system was too complex and too constraining, and it shouldn't be that way. And when he criticized Gregg for that, a lot of people said, well, he's done. He's done. So this is Gregg maybe saying, hey, that might not be totally true. And not that many people saw that interview. Anyhow, probably 99% of the regular fans out there don't even know who fucking Joe Scally is. So he's not worried about it, right?
Well, that's because Gregg didn't play him for shit.
Right.
No, of course, especially the commoners aren't going to know. Unless you follow this shit, you'll never know. I mean, you're like, oh, who's this Joe Scally guy? He doesn't play at all. I mean, he suck.
At least we don't have to listen to the Shaq Moore boogie anymore. Shaq Moore!
Definitely no Cannon.
Shaq Moore! All right.
Do you think Cannon was sitting back there once Berhalter got announced and going, like, maybe I shouldn't have done that interview?
I don't think so. I think
the interview came out after he was announced, regardless.
Cannon doesn't even have a team, dude. Nobody wants him.
He's going to EPL. What are you talking about?
I like his braveness, but then again, let's also face it. Anybody who knows Reggie Cannon, he is a different type of dude. He is different dude. He is not like a normal dude. He thinks he looks at the world differently. He talks about the world differently, and he thinks about his journey, to use the Gregg word, through life in a much different way than most soccer players do. So I'll give him credit for that.
On a similar fashion to Scally, we have Luca De La Torre in the midfield, and he's gone on record questioning publicly about Gregg.
Yeah.
Not necessarily using Gregg as an example, but saying like, hey, this is how I've always played. I have no idea why they haven't called me in.
Right. Weston McKennie's there. Moose is there. No surprising. Brendan, the big one that was Benjamin Kramashi. That was surprising to some people, but we kind of already knew that through the grapevine.
They got leaked pretty quick,
Yeah. So
I guess we're talking about that. We briefly talked about that, and I know that there are some people who have their opinions on the matter, saying like, "Oh, he's not ready for an A-team call-up.
He's not going to play.
He's not going to play. And
he might get
maybe he get a minute here and there.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
He's not going to play. The whole point of this is to like begin to tickle his nutsack and massage it and say, hey, we think you got a high ceiling, and I want you to continue to think about us. So we're inviting you to the team, and Gregg's going to nuzzle your nuts a little. And before you go to bed at night, he's going to cup them gently. And that's about it.
No, it's absolutely in Gregg's, his dual national scouting lineage, if you will.
Yeah.
Whereas he's like, hey, come here, experience it all.
Yeah. Come look at it.
Get to know the guys, and we'll go from there.
Right.
Because quite frankly, he obviously Kramashi's with Messi, and Messi definitely will have pull with Argentina. And if Kramashi's definitely, am I saying that right? Kramashi?
Yeah, that's good enough.
Fair enough. If he is, in fact, as talented as some people are toting him up to be at this point, then maybe Messi will be like, hey, reaching out to Argentina and saying, hey, man, this guy's pretty talented. You might want to give him a look at.
Yeah, I don't think he's that talented.
But if Argentina gave him a call up at that point, then it's going to be uphill battle for U.S. men's national team. So it is probably smart on Berhalter's side to get our community, our atmosphere at the camp itself under his belt, so that he's fully aware of what it's like there. And if he does get called up to Argentina at some point for like a friendly or whatever, that he can gauge it at that point. It's not necessarily starstruck like, ooh, I'm getting called up for Argentina, but he's like, he already knows what it's like with the U.S. men's national team, and he can gauge it from that point.
Yeah, you're probably wasting a lot of breath on this because, listen, the simple answer is Camachi's never going to be good enough to play for the Argentinian national team. Let's just be honest. He isn't. He isn't. So he has a ceiling. We don't know what it is yet, but I mean, if he was that fucking good, he wouldn't be here. He'd be at Boca Juniors right now. All right. So that's where he'd be right now, playing for Boca Juniors on a regular basis. All right, Johnny Cardoso. Glad to see him here.
Yeah. Well, especially after that injury scare. Back to Camacho real quick.
Okay.
Born here in the States? Question mark? Born here in the States? Question mark?
More what states?
Was he born here in the States?
I think so.
Then I don't think Boca Juniors would have been necessarily where he would be right now. I think he'd probably be playing in MLS, which is what he's doing, and then eventually get his transfer to Europe at some point.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. We all know how fucking good Argentina is.
Sure.
I don't
No doubt.
He would be breaking every record possible by starting his career in MLS and then ending up on the fucking Argentinian national team. If he was that good, he would be in Liverpool's youth system or somebody's youth system somewhere in Europe, right?
This is what his first season professionally. So he didn't even crack the U20s at any point. Speaking of U20 players who were left off the U20s, we mentioned Brian Gutierrez, we mentioned Buck.
Mm-hmm.
Two players who are also dual nats that could, in theory, play. And I feel like if any of those players might play for somebody else besides the United States, Gutierrez has a better chance playing for Mexico than Buck has for England or Camacho has for Argentina.
I don't think Gutierrez has any chance of playing for Mexico either.
I'm just saying, of the three, he has the more viable option because where Mexico's current state is.
Yeah, but Gutierrez doesn't want anything to do with Mexico.
Fair enough, and I agree with you on that. I don't think I'm not concerned with him making the switch over by any means.
He's seen the record. Have you seen the record?
Especially, are you referring to the record of their current wins and losses, or are you talking about the record of Mexican Americans playing for Mexico?
B.
Or yes.
B. Yes. Yeah.
All of the above.
Yes. Honestly, it's just not it's a silly thing to do. And he doesn't have to make that decision now anyhow. No. There is no pressure. There is no rush. So Brian can wait. We know he wants to play for us.
I don't think there is a question of waiting. Outside of waiting for a chance with the U.S. men's national team at this point, or just getting released to go play for the Olympics or go play for the U20s, which never happened.
Well, that's going to be the problem with that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not an official fucking tournament. Seattle's probably not going to let Gutierrez go play in the Olympics.
Who? Chicago, not Seattle.
Oh, Chicago. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're not going to let him go and play in the Olympics. That would be my guess. And I think Gregg even mentioned that. We have no idea what the MLS teams are going to let us take to the Olympics.
It's also possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's also possible that Gutierrez wanting to be with Chicago come the Olympics. He's having a hell of a season right now. He might garner interest abroad, and Chicago might sell him at some point. I'm not sure who to or where to, but it's possible.
But that might even make it more complicated.
100%, yes.
Yeah. So Malik Tillman, glad to see him on here. Glad to see him get 8 minutes this week. So we'll see what happens with him. That was my biggest worry. My biggest worry at the beginning wasn't Pepe, but now it's turning into Pepe because now we've seen Des play and we've seen Tillman play, and we're not seeing Pepe get to play. So there we go.
And I think that falls into this is stupid category because you're up 5-1 with 10 minutes left. You might as well the player you paid, and I'm assuming I don't know the actual number itself, but
a good amount.
You paid at least $15 million for. I imagine 12 to $15 million for
good amount.
You're up 5-1. The game's over. Pull him in. Let him get some experience. Let him get some minutes with the team. It's
goddamn, treat him like you care. I mean, you're gonna play De Jong the full game. Why? What is the fucking point of that?
It's beyond me. Yeah, it's beyond me.
And I said this a couple weeks ago when he didn't play, and then the week after, and then people are like, "Oh, Derek, man, you're making too big a deal of that. He's gonna be fun. He's gonna play." No, I'm fucking concerned now because this was a bullshit fucking game that didn't matter in whatever goddamn fucking, what is it called?
No, it was Champions League.
Okay, it was Champions League. But against
they were
the
up 5-1 with 10 minutes
left.
They're
up 5-1 against a shitty team. Let the kid play.
The game's over. Over.
It's ridiculous.
5-1. I think the fifth goal scored like the 83rd minute was an own goal. So they're up 4-1 going up at that point.
Yep.
How do you not just say, hey, Pepe, go in there, whatever?
Yeah, this is frustrating as fuck. Brendan Aronson, not surprising. Belgun, not surprising. Cade Cowell is the only guy because Pepe we like over Ferreira, so that's good. Pulisic and Tim Weah we expect. But Cade Cowell, Cowell, 0 goals this season. 0 goals
he's got
for
one
San Jose. All right, that's cool. But how about, all right, I mean, there are other things you could do there. But I'm not going to complain about Cowell because at least it's a young player. And I like that part, right? But I don't know. I mean, I wish Paxton Aronson maybe. I'm not complaining too much, but Paxton Aronson, I think I would have liked to have seen.
Well, and I mentioned, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I mentioned Gutierrez for Kamashi in that point. But with Chicago, where Gutierrez plays, it would be the Cowell position. He plays out left wing, more or less, for Chicago. Him and Shaqiri Pension, etc. Beside the point, I'm just making a point that if we're going to talk about Cowell, and Cowell, you're basing it off of he's a workhorse with one fucking move. And Derek, what's his move?
It's basically dribble down the left side and cut into your right foot.
And shoot the ball. Try to make a pass. But it is one play. And how teams scouting us don't go, oh, I know what this kid does.
Oh, they're figuring it out. All of MLS has figured it out. All of MLS has figured it out. All of them have.
He's got to figure this shit out. He's got to expand and grow, or he's gonna be an MLS journeyman at this point.
He is, because you got to have more than one move. And now,
fuck the Everton conversation when Everton was quote unquote interested. They're keeping eyes and tabs and shit like that, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever.
Even if they were, it was here's a young kid, because this is like a 2-year-old rumor.
Yeah,
here's a young kid, very athletic. We could see some potential there, but after 2 years of being in MLS, playing with the U20s. You're literally looking at a very athletic player who likes to cut to his right and shoot the ball.
For as much time as he has played for San Jose this season and not scored a fucking goal, it is obvious that every defense knows exactly what he's going to do. And if you watch any of the San Jose games, it is obvious that everybody pushes him outside. They're not going to let him cut in. And when he has,
go ahead, try to cross on your left foot. I dare you.
The number of blocked shots this season from his cut-ins and shots are numerous. Put them in a bucket. They're that much. So
here we go.
You got to be better than a one-trick pony. Cal is better than Morris ever was. That could be true down the road, but right now he doesn't look as good as Morris's best yet.
So Cal's like what, 19, 20? He's gonna be like 19 or 20 because he played with U20.
He's young. He's got time to grow.
So I'm just my point being is that compared Cal to what Morris was at 19, 20.
But he is better.
Just coming out of Stanford,
Yes.
And he was a ball of fucking fire.
He's better than
pacey.
Morrison at the same age. Yes.
I don't know.
It's close.
I've
It's
seen
close.
enough of Cowell that I would probably go back to Morris.
Well, Morris had a couple things. He was built like Cowell, but that right foot of his was gold. I mean, it was really good. And he was faster, I think, than Cowell is in a straight line. I think he
Judgmental
was.
Deity says, wasn't Morris scoring against Mexico at this age or what?
I think he was.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's
If I had
not
to
really.
choose, I'm picking Morris.
Yeah,
over Cowell.
it's a false argument. It doesn't really matter.
Fair.
Yeah. The point is, I'm more worried about Cowell as Cowell. I'm not worried about.
I got the Coors Light and Miller Light. I mean,
yeah.
which one am I going to choose, really?
I'm not really worried about Cowell as in comparison to Morris as much, even though I've said that before. He reminds me of Morris, but he's got some serious growth that needs to happen.
I think Morris. I think our opinions, all of our opinions of Morris, has been jaded due
by
to
his
the
injuries.
injuries.
Yes.
I mean, if you go back to pre-injury Morris, he was electric. I mean, he was
a lightning rod. Yeah.
He was getting around defense. He was scoring goals. People were looking like, oh man, why didn't he go to Bremen? I mean, was it Bremen that he was being scouted by?
Werder Bremen. Yep.
Yeah. Why did he go there? He went to Seattle. I mean,
he went there. He actually played in some practice games with them.
I didn't think he actually signed with them. I thought he.
No, they offered him.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think he didn't take it. He took the GA contract instead.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, the problem with Morris is that he got us 2 knee injuries, even the 1 knee injury. That's enough, right?
Right.
He'd still be formidable, I guess. You could still be formidable at that point, but you're not going to be quite the same player you were. And you get your 2nd knee injury, and at that point, you're basically I can run straight.
Right. Let's jump to the Berhalter interview, by the way, because we're like way into this.
Oh, real quick, I want to pull this back up. We were really damn close with our lineup.
Oh.
We had Turner, Ream, and Richards, which I still think is going to happen.
Yep.
Jedi Dest, I think is going to happen. Musa, Weston. Now, we had Aronson in the midfield.
Can you blow that up a little bigger?
I can't, unfortunately.
Okay.
We had Aronson as the other 8
in
this lineup, which probably won't happen now because he's being listed as a winger. It could still happen. He could be playing as a spin, I guess.
It could still happen, yeah.
We had Pulisic, yes, Balogun and Weah. I think all accurate. I think Aronson may be the only question mark in this lineup. Mind you, the formation is janky because that was funny.
Well, yeah, because we were showing how they play.
How it's going to look in the attack, yeah.
Right, in the attack. So we pushed the wingers up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I need audio pulled up here. Yeah, okay. 2 hours, 13 minutes. Let's get to the actual presser here.
The presser. Let's start at 9:57. And that's when he talks about the system as it relates to flow and how flexible Greg wants it's going to be.
NFL Sunday Ticket now on YouTube.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Out of market Sunday game.
You're welcome. So we had Benha in camp in October prior to the World Cup. He was with the U20 group. And
real quick, Benha, that throws me for a loop every time I hear it.
1957 is where we need to be.
I was at 1957? They said 957.
No, 1957.
Oh, wow. That must have been a really shitty presser if we're going all the way up to here.
Well, there was another one earlier, but he repeats the same answer, so I just kept it late for all of them. There we go.
Have last time around, and he's already become such an integral part of how this team plays. When you look at this camp, getting to work with him, what have your conversations been like with him? And as you look at how to integrate a striker like that into your system, is it a case of fitting flow into your system or fitting your system around kind of
those 3 systems in a row?
I think with the national team, if you've seen how the ideas of the game model have evolved, it's national team to me is always about fitting the players or you fitting to the players. Because
God, that's the first time he has ever said that.
Since when?
The only time he's ever said that before is the original interview with Lalas about when he was talking about how he's going to use his system to disrupt the other team, etc. And they had the board out and he was moving the beads around. He hasn't said it since. because since then, all he has talked about and the players is the system. Fucking system. So this is amazing. Wow. I hope it's true.
I'm hoping it's true, but I mean, we have to assume that he's telling the truth, right?
Well, the first person to mention the word the playing model was Hudson, right? He's the one who said, listen, it's not about the system, it's about the playing model. We don't need to play the system. We have a playing model, and we're going to loosen things up, and we're going to use the same model, but we're going to loosen it up and allow creativity. This sounds like Hudson. So this is a big step forward for Gregg.
Maybe he learned something over his time off.
Well, he's never said this before. Ever.
Okay.
Limited player pool. So with Flo, it's our obligation to work around what he can bring us, because we know he's got a tremendous amount of talent. I've already talked to him about what he thinks his best skill sets are and best how to get him involved and active. Very dynamic player, running behind the line, good in the penalty box. So these are all things that we know are going to help our group.
Jumping back to what he was saying as far as not the system playing or fitting the players, but he's talking about a limited player pool. And again, this is the talking point that everybody who has been arguing about, debating and criticizing Berhalter as far as having a system and implementing your system, must system. And it's always about the limited player pool.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that he's saying it now gives me some hope, but I need to see it.
I need to see it. Yes.
And it's gonna be we saw it under Hudson, we saw it under BJ. The 4-2-3-1 played to our players' strength better.
Way better.
And it's something that you and I have been talking about ad nauseum for how long?
Forever.
It
seems like forever.
No creative option in the midfield. Well, that's because we're playing with 2 box-to-box 8s and a 6 that helps out our crappy defense.
Right.
So
okay. Well, we've blown the whole Geo conversation out of the water already, right? So we don't need to return to that. So I'm going to skip that one and move to his discussion on formations at 2640.
Thank you, Mike, and hello, Gregg. You mentioned earlier you were talking about the player pool and how you kind of have to, as a coach, adapt to the player pool. In the last cycle, we saw a lot of the 4-3-3 under BJ Callahan. We saw a lot of switch ups to maybe a 4-2-3-1 or other formations. You have some guys on this roster who have operated in the past as wingbacks. Is that something that you're looking to do and kind of switch up the formation as you move forward?
And here we go. We're only going to talk about the 3-4-3. No mention of embracing a 4-2-3-1.
Wow.
Here we go.
I mean, I know he tried to bring in the 3-4-3 last cycle. Mind you, only brought in a couple of matches.
That's a flop.
It was a major flop, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always thought that this team could play in a system with wing backs. Especially Anthony Robinson is a guy that can definitely do that. Lund Hansen can do that as well.
Who? Lund. Lund's real last name is Hansen.
Oh, okay.
Why? I don't know why they stopped at Lund. I don't know when they listed it on the roster. It was just Lund, but his real last name, at least on Transfer Market, is Hansen. So whatever.
Well, I mean, what he's saying here is I've always thought that playing with wingbacks would be beneficial for us because our current backs can't play defense.
I disagree. I just don't think. I don't think with the current players that we have, and you could create something that looks appealing. But what happens when you play 3 in the back and 2 out wide is you lose somebody up front or in the middle. That's just how that works. It's just, who are you going to lose? You're going to lose Reyna. You're going to lose who? Are you going to lose? McKenny?
No, it'd
Musa?
be one of MMA. Absolutely, be one of MMA because
Musa. Yeah,
Reyna's not even the fucking equation at this point. He's going to be third behind Pulisic and Weah at the wings. I don't believe that Berhalter is going to implement a 4-2-3-1.
He should.
Yes, he should.
Because it's the best system for the players.
We talked about this with Lalas. Not having a creative midfielder hurt us, hurt our 9.
Mm-hmm.
And our 9, even Pulisic had to check back and then to the middle to get to the ball because McKinney and Musa had to play so defensively at times that there was no connection. There's no connecting point between those players once we got the ball and to get it up to our attackers. It's either hoof it forward or have one of our players, generally speaking, our 9, checking back into the midfield to collect the ball and playing it out wide to hold possession.
And how does a 9 play behind the lines when he has to constantly fucking check back to get the ball? It's impossible. That's why our shit looks broken so many times.
Well, it looks broken up until January.
Yes, exactly. And then it stopped looking broken, and it started looking a lot freer and creative. And we had somebody who could carry the ball up the field. His name was Gio Reyna.
Yeah, we handedly beat Mexico and Canada in Nations League. Handedly.
We made them look foolish. Playing a 4-2-3-1.
How things could have been. You know, I know we qualified for the World Cup, so that doesn't really matter at that point. But man, how would the World Cup qualifying have looked if we played with the 4-2-3-1?
Yep.
With a creative-minded player in there, you had people helping the defense, allowing your backs to get up into the attack. Your wings don't have to check back into the midfield. Your 9 can actually sit at the top and poach and do all the shit that he has to do in front of the box. It's how could have been? How could have been?
Anybody who says formations doesn't matter doesn't know fucking football. I'm sorry. Remember, we had Jimmy on 11 years ago, right? 10 years ago? Jimmy Conrad.
Yeah. Back in the day.
And he berated us on the show because he's like, formations don't matter. Then we had Jimmy back 10 years later. And what did Jimmy said? Because he's trying to get his A license or whatever it is, B license.
Yeah.
And I said, Jimmy, you remember that time you told us formations don't matter? And he said, I said that? I was like, yeah, you did. Yeah. I can replay the tape.
You know the players out there to 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-2.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
But he changed his tune 10 years later and said, yeah, formations do matter. I was wrong. And he is correct currently. Formations do matter. It does affect the way you flow, the way the play goes, the way you can develop out of the back. If you have a center of fucking attacking midfielder linking the 2 covering midfielders to the front line. Yes, it matters. If you don't know that, you don't know fucking soccer. And I'm not saying a 4-2-3-1 is the best formation for every team. It isn't. For other teams, it's a 4-4-2. God help me. Yes, we'd actually probably play pretty good in a 4-4-2 if we set up that way. It isn't always the 4-3-3. That is a risky system to play, and it really limits your defense, your center midfielders, because they have to play a lot of fucking defense, man. It ain't cool. And they've got to understand how to rotate together, and that becomes rather complex because you got one holder, usually the 6, and you got 2 8s. But sometimes that 6 needs another 6 an 8 to roll back and help as a 6. So that gets more complex. But a 4-2-3-1 solves that problem because they're fucking 2 designated guys sitting in front of the back 4 who can deliver the ball to the fucking 10 and get shit rolling. And that's what we've always lacked. And it finally means that our fucking center forward doesn't have to come back and play a false 9 or fall back into a 10 role. He doesn't have to fall back and say, okay, I'm here. Give me the ball so I can kick it out wide and hopefully run up the field fast enough to get in the box before whatever motherfucker crosses the ball. And that's why our fucking 9s have been broken under Berhalter. And I hope he learned something from Hudson. I do. I really do. Sorry for the rant.
BMR brings up an interesting point. This is something to consider because obviously Reyna was injured for a while. Who would have played the 10 in that formation when he was injured? So let's jump back to the El Salvador opener. I think Reyna got injured in that match, correct? So Reyna's gone. And mind you, Reyna was also being utilized as a winger at that point. So it's not like he was even using him as a 10. But assuming we went back to that point and used the 10 when Reyna was injured, who would you play at that point?
I mean, there are various options, right? You could play Aronson there, although that's not my first pick. You could play Booth there. You could play Pulisic there.
Okay, so let's go back to when Reyna was injured. Pulisic was also injured. Aronson was filling in for Pulisic.
Yeah.
We had Weah at the right filling in for Areola when he was injured. Booth wasn't even in consideration at the point. He was still with Bayern's youth academy, and they're.
I don't want to go with it. I don't really want to go this far back in time. I want to think forward now, right?
Well, sure, we can think forward now, but the point was that he was injured. So maybe the point is that Gregg couldn't have played with a 10 because we didn't have a 10 option at the time.
Even when we did have Reyna healthy, he never played him as a 10.
True.
What's the fucking point of this argument?
Well,
he never did. There's no history of Gregg ever playing a fucking 10. Can we just get over this conversation?
No,
it never happened.
This takes the point that he was only utilized early on in Berhalter's system, and he played him as a winger. Yes. Once Reyna got healthy again, wasn't up until like the September friendlies, and even then that was questionable. September friendlies, and then he was in the World Cup. There wasn't any time prior to that he could say play with the 10. Although I still don't believe he would play him as a 10. He still would have played him as a winger, and that was a guarantee because we saw it.
All right.
Move forward, but yeah.
Even if with some of the teams that we played, Gregg could have experimented with a 10, whether it be Aronson or someone else. Gregg never did. Gregg has never thought of a 4-2-3-1. It has never been in his skull since back when he was a club manager and early on in the management of this team. We don't play it. We haven't played it for eons. And I don't know. I don't think just because Reyna's out that we don't have any other players that can play a 10. I mean, I'm not going to go through the litany of the years, all the months that he was manager and who was injured and who was not. But the fact is, it's not his inclination. It just isn't.
Well, and we could have played more of a double pivot with MMA. McKinney could have played more of an offensive mind.
He sure could have.
Who just sat higher up on the pitch, received the ball, distributed it out, and played out wide. Basically, took the role of what Berhalter does with the 9.
There you go.
That's all. That would have been the big difference. It wouldn't have been a Reyna. I'm going to break the lines by these nice passes that are going to open up the defense and create chances. It's basically McKinney would have been like, I'm taking the role of the 9, allowing the 9 to sit higher up on the pitch, ready to receive those balls in.
And we saw a little bit of the World Cup. We saw Musa drop back to help Adams, and we saw McKinney in a more offensive role, i.e. sort of a 10 role, more aggressive 8 box-to-box role.
Also keeping tabs on Dest too. He favored Dest's side and covered back for Dest quite a bit.
Yeah, he did.
It was a unique situation because I think Dest had more offensive responsibilities and less defensive responsibilities, despite the fact that he played well defensively.
Not in all the games, though. The Wales one was really weird because Dest was held back through parts of the game as part of a back 3. It was so weird. I remember watching that with you and your friends, and I'm like, I've never seen this before. But Dest is playing part of a back. This is playing part of a back 3 and letting Jedi go up the field. It's just, it was so fucking weird. I've never seen it. But that was the good thing about the one thing I'll give Gregg credit for in the World Cup is he did decide to change things pretty dramatically. And yes, we did, as some of the commentators mentioned, play more like a club team than any other team in the World Cup, to our detriment at some points, especially when it came to breaking down the defense in the final third. We continue to have that problem throughout the World Cup. That's why we didn't score many goals, right? So it was a struggle even then to get goals. We had to get lucky shit off of Haji Wright's heel or whatever to go in. So
well, and I know this is a handful plus months ago, but Sargent started the first match, and then Haji started the second match against England, right?
Okay, you're asking me to remember things.
I know. We talked about this. And then Sargent started the second match and then busted his ankle. Now,
Yes.
the time Sargent was on the pitch, we actually we looked dangerous at that point.
We did.
With in our attack. And
Yep.
I'm not saying that Sargent was anywhere close to getting goals by any means, but I mean he did all the dirty work that Berhalter required, and our attack looked good.
Yep.
So
Tragic that Sargent's are injured right now. Some people, by the way, Brett, were mentioning that your boy Mihailovic should be on this squad, but I think, I don't think
he played himself out in the Gold Cup.
Yeah,
he needs it, much like Zendejas, and I feel the same way about Zendejas. Even though I know Diego said that he was going to be called up, except for he got injured. I think both Zendejas and Mihailovic need to show consistency at the club before they get called back in at this point.
I think
they played themselves off in the Gold Cup.
I think Zendejas will. I cannot speak for Mihailovic growing a pair for Aze. I can't.
It's very possible. You're right.
I would love to be wrong about that. Caliesho, let's just not talk about him yet, folks. It's way too early. He doesn't need to make a decision. And
I mean, you can keep reaching out to him for windows like this where it doesn't mean anything, and you're just calling him and just say, "Hey, come and experience us."
We did invite him.
Yeah,
he said no, thank you.
And
okay.
I'm saying keep extending the hand, but at that point, you keep moving on with who you got, who actually is playing for us.
Yeah,
and you go from there.
Here's a good one. Outside of Tanner Tessmann in the midfield, how about this guy, Leonard fucking Maloney for Heidenheim?
He would have been a great call up.
Yep. I think that would be a guy
We're fucking hurting for an Adams replacement anyways.
Yeah. And that's all fucking Leonard Maloney is. He is an Adams in Germany.
Well, shit. I mean, he was a center back for a good chunk of his Dortmund career.
He is a fucking destroyer, dude. Yeah. I don't know if you watched how many games you got to watch last season.
I've not.
That's what he does. And I watched his first game in the Bundesliga this season. Fucking just a destroyer. Dude, that's what he is.
I guess my problem with that is that I forget that he's even on that team. So I see that I'm scrolling through. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this match. And I forget that we have an American on this team now. So I'm going to make a conscious effort to say, oh yeah, that's right, this team.
Well, what's fucking weird is that Heidenheim's in the Bundesliga at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I think it's the first time in the Bundesliga, I believe. And yet we sit here and watch teams like Schalke and Hamburg. I mean, these teams that are classic fucking Bundesliga powerhouses. They're just gone. They're fucking sucking it up into Bundesliga.
I mean, you can say the same thing about Champions League and Championship and EPL. You have historic teams like Forest is back up now, and Leeds were up at one point. Millwall. All these teams have historic, these massive histories of being
Queens Park Rangers.
Yeah, and now they're twiddling down between League One and EFL. So I mean, you got to either have the money, the financial backing, or you got to adapt to the way the game's being played now.
But there are more German giants suffering now. Schalke. If you would have told me Schalke would ever be relegated, I would have been shocked. Hamburg, Kaiserslautern, some classic German teams. Nuremberg, Werder Bremen. All these massive fucking German clubs, man. It's just amazing. It really is. I mean, if you would have said this to me 10 years ago.
You start getting Red Bull money in there, and all of a sudden, teams start getting pushed aside.
And then you got teams like Hoffenheim. That's a small village in Germany. I was asking my mom. I was like, yeah. I was telling her Hoffenheim and that we had a player in Hoffenheim. My mom's like, Hoffenheim? The fuck is that? It's like, oh yeah, I guess I looked it up. It's like, yeah, that's just a small little fucking village.
Well, it'd be like MLS, and let's say MLS has 100 years history, and we have promotion relegation. And all of a sudden, there's a team from South Bend. You're like,
South Bend FC.
What the fuck? The fuck are they?
Yeah, the South Bend Farters FC. Johnny Cardoso. Yeah, we talked about him earlier. Yeah.
Well, no. He's saying as a Adams replacement. We talked about Maloney.
I mean,
he's talking about Cardoso.
he certainly plays that role often, but not exactly for International.
I thought it was always described that he was more of a box to box. I haven't really watched
He is a box.
games, but
Yeah, he's more box to box. I don't think he's a destroyer like Adams. He's not a destroyer. Like
he's a
Adams and
taller,
Maloney.
more built Luca de la Torre.
Yeah, I guess so.
In
yeah.
some ways, and not
In some ways, yeah. He's got skills, but he's not a fucking like destroyer. Like Maloney's a destroyer.
Yeah.
Adams is a fucking destroyer. That's all they are, really. Like, I mean, they have some other benefits, but not offensively. They're just not going to help you on the offense. Where I think Cardoso can and does have a few more creative abilities than those guys, but he doesn't destroy like Adams does. Could Adams hold us back moving forward? I've already said so. I think going forward, if you do move to a 4-2-3-1, you really have to consider, does that 4-2, the two holding, is that McKennie and Musa, or is that Musa and Adams? Because somebody's got to go if Reyna is playing center attacking midfielder, right? Somebody's got to go.
Yes. Yeah,
and Musa has shown he can play the holding mid spot.
Yeah, no, but with in theory, in that sense, with Adams being there, the question would be: is who do you want partnered with Adams? Would Musa or McKennie be a better partnership?
I'm saying if you want a creative guys that can do the holding role but also have other abilities, you could play Musa and McKennie next to each other in the center holding midfield spots in a 4-2-3-1. And Adams is going to start on the bench, or you could play him at right back or left back if you need him to. But I mean, somebody's going to have to be sacrificed. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know who that is, but
wouldn't it be interesting if he got moved back to say like even a center back position in that sense? Because he has the ability to collect the ball and distribute, which is something that some of our center backs severely lack.
As long as the other center back is 6'2", yes. Because Adams is only 5'10". So
Shit was the Italian player.
Yes, you can do it. You can pull it off.
Can't think of his name.
But you got to have another guy next to you who's taller than fucking 5'10".
I mean, you know who I'm talking about, but I can't think of who it is now. It starts with a C, doesn't it?
I can't either, but I do know this much, Brett. I got to pee like a racehorse. So let's close this bitch out.
Right on. Do you have any more timestamps here?
I don't. No, I skipped the other one because we've already talked about it extensively. I want to thank everybody that came to the show tonight. This went a little longer than we suspected, but I think it was fun. I think we covered everything. I mean, if we missed something, let us know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. Again, Cannavaro, is that who
that's what I was referring to, yes.
Okay, man, BMR, you are on it, buddy. Yeah. That dude's a wealth of fucking a fountain of knowledge.
Rico Poe says that prostate may be gone.
I don't think they realize how much we drink on this show. I mean, how many times have you seen me
I had at least 4 shots in here, and I had a full drink here. So
I finished a drink before the show. Then I drank a beer. Then I drank this. And then I called your stepsister, and we had a long conversation about your relationship. And she thinks things are healthy and they're not weird at all. And that your whole family should accept it. And you guys should move on and have a happy life.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely. Well, we'll let you know soon if Eric is going to be on the show either Monday or Thursday. We're working that out.
Yeah.
And if it's not,
we'll talk about that off the air, Derek.
Right. And if it's not next week, it will be soon. So unless I call him and he starts cursing me out, we don't know.
Always a possibility.
It is a possibility. Although, I doubt that's going to happen. Anyhow, we love you. I hope you love us. I think some of you do. I feel like we're a family. And we'll see you next time on the Straight Red Card on Monday. Good night.
She's a trap, she's an unsung novel, turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm
the articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive.